Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the European Technology Network. It is Thursday, 8th of January, second stream of the year. The cold is upon us. Winter is no longer coming. Winter is here.
Indeed it is.
It's getting slippery
Very,
out there.
very cold.
You got to watch yourself. You need to leave that stuff behind.
On those mean streets in London, as all the ex-people say, London is a treacherous city. It really is.
They do say that, don't they?
Maybe not for the reasons we're talking about. We're talking about the slippery pavements.
I think normally people are referring to the knife crime.
Yeah,
the
they
fact that it is
But we're
ravaged in knife crime.
Apparently so.
Apparently so.
But we're still here, so we're good.
You got to leave that stuff behind. You got to leave it behind like Airwallex leave outdated business banking behind. With Airwallex, look at this bad boy. This is from Airwallex. It's a McLaren F1 Lego car that's finally been constructed by Luke.
Yes, sir.
How long did that take you to build?
Far too long.
And how long did you tell me it would take you to build?
The team at Airwallex, when they gifted them to us, they said, "Hey, look, this is going to take you a long, long time. Like really, this actually takes a long time." And I was like, "No, it doesn't. It'd be fine. I'll get it done in a weekend."
No.
Turns out
less than a weekend, buddy.
Oh,
I got
was
a
it a
WhatsApp
Tuesday?
from you that said, "I'll bang this out tonight."
Oh, good. I actually locked in that night, and I
You did lock in. To be fair,
I made 20% of the chassis. It's a big old thing. It's massive.
It is.
But thank you very much for the team at Airwallex. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex. Go to airwallex.com. We love them.
Speaking of gifts, why don't we reveal these absolutely sensational
let's do it.
presents? This is from our friends over there at Aurora.
Thank you very much to Aurora.
So we're just gonna. Oh, Jesus, this is. Oh, you got yours right out there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I'm excited.
I've got this mic.
I hope this is mine.
Oh yeah, I might have yours. I can't get my own.
Oh no. Oh no. Wait. Take that. Take that. I'll do it.
Okay, you do that. Sorry. I'm too weak. Even though I've been taking my creatine, it's obviously not working.
Here we go.
Bosh. Look at these. Let's see if we can get these.
What about some trumpets?
So, this is a... God, the cameras are confusing. This is a Bollinger customized Aurora X ETN.
No, hold on. It's not. It's a 007 edition.
007 edition.
Bollinger Champagne Aurora X ETN
This bad boy.
with our personal names on it as well. These are going to go straight here. When we're interviewing guests, everyone can see them. They look good.
Is that that's not messing up the focus or anything, is it? No, we're good. Cool. Look at that bad boy.
I'd hope they focus on these.
Oh yeah, they'd probably be better viewing.
Yeah, exactly.
It is dry Jan though.
Thank you very much for the.
So
it is, yeah.
we can't.
So they'll stay.
We can't have
stay
them.
closed.
There's rumours of a dry Q1, but we'll see. We can't drink them yet, but
we announced the trade deal this morning. It's doing well.
Trade deal's been
everyone
announced.
loves the trade deals. Thank you very much for Aurora team
that's
for
out in
sending
the
us
ether.
those.
We've
Shout out
heard
to Jonah.
it's already moving markets as well.
It is.
I hear Aurora stock is through the roof, and ETN stock is obviously going
Always.
to the moon. Why
Always.
don't we talk about these guests that we've got coming on today?
Let's do it.
Luke, you usually do the guests, so maybe you want to just
I'll do the guests.
give us just three.
So 12 p.m. we have a tentative Kanishka Narayan. He is an MP. He's Minister of AI and Online Safety at the Department of Science, Innovation and Technology. He may have been called into chambers, so we will have to see. We have a ton of news anyway, so we're going to get through that. But if he joins, great. Obviously, we want him to join, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That'll be at 12 p.m. Make sure you tune in there just to see if he is. I'll tweet out if he's joining. Anyway, then we have Nicola, I'm going to say Merckx.
Yeah, it's a hard one to pronounce.
Nicola Merckx. He is the co-founder and CEO of PolyAI. Very cool company.
Yeah.
Voice AI startup. What was their latest valuation?
So they did. Total raise to date is 200 million. The recent funding round was 86 million. It was a Series D.
These boys with Mr. Jensen Huang as well.
Yeah, there was a sick photo of them up on Twitter.
Did a nice 170k or whatever. I don't know, 170k impressions.
Oh, the impressions. No, I think they did more. I mean, just Jensen, right?
Yeah,
like,
probably did
it's always
more.
gonna. So yeah, I think he has like a minimum threshold of like 200k. Maybe that's a good growth strategy. Just Jensen Huang max.
Just go and stream snipe him.
Yeah,
somewhere.
live, just stream snipe.
Jensen.
And we've also got Anesti Sario, co-founder at Freight. It is the viral sort of German hacker, Finnish, like, oh wait, no, is it? I'm not exactly sure where he's located. I'm pretty sure it's Germany. I'll have to ask him. But it's going viral. It's like a hacker hotel type dealio. They recently put up a job advert that was a chief propaganda officer, which I absolutely loved. Essentially, just really leaning into this new, like, be filming everything all the time, go straight to your audience, just document everything you're doing. I think it's really cool. A really cool job that they're doing over there. But I can discuss quickly some of the news that we're going to be talking about today. I mean, there's a lot. We could probably just jump straight into going into.
Let's just jump in. I think the biggest story is the Accenture acquiring Faculty for over $1 billion.
Biggest in the UK, for sure.
Yeah, largest ever acquisition of a privately held UK AI startup. So congratulations to the Faculty team.
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Terms not fully disclosed. We'll keep an eye on it. But
I'm going to pull this one up right now.
Go for it.
With my new PolyAI machine that I've got here.
Is
that looking good? Just checking if... Oh, we are. Okay, nice. It's working. That's amazing. Accenture buys UK AI startup Faculty in $1 billion deal. It's the largest takeover acquisition of a privately held UK artificial intelligence startup that the UK has ever seen. Accenture has agreed to buy artificial intelligence company Faculty in a deal, valuing the UK startup at more than $1 billion at the consulting group attempts to adapt to disruption from AI. Really, really cool. You love to see this for the UK. Mm-hmm. I mean, Accenture has said acquiring Faculty, which has more than 400 staff, would improve its ability to help clients reinvent core and critical business processes by adopting AI. And then, I mean, another line from Mark Beath, partner at Apex Digital, quadrupling revenues in 4 years, launching a successful AI software offering and becoming a unicorn. This is a great outcome for Faculty and showcases the strength of the UK AI's ecosystem. I'm going to bring that down now. A lot of people are talking about what this means, what it means for the UK. It's a really cool win to see. I mean, Faculty have traditionally been a company that focuses on, like, they're not building to-do list apps. They're not building, they're not building like
they're not fighting the hype.
Model generation, video generation. They're not fighting the hype game, which is, I think, is a great thing.
We need more of that.
Yeah, so like Faculty, which employs people with science PhDs, data scientists, and AI engineers, is the latest in a series of British startups to be bought by a US group as UK battles to provide a vibrant capital market to help promising companies grow. Mm-hmm. And there were also sort of like speculations. So Mark, who is their founder, is joining Accenture as the CTO. So Accenture has 80,000 employees. He's going to join now as CTO of Accenture. So people, not to disregard anything that Faculty is doing. Like they have been doing amazing work. They've been focusing on specifically integrating AI within health and preventative measures in healthcare. They're doing national grid type energy resource allocation as well. So it's it's real actual real stuff as opposed to the usual act rock,
not actual real stuff.
Remove this person's clothes. It's not.
Which we'll talk about later, actually. But I think a lot of people are basically talking about the fact that people have been surprised with $1 billion price tags in the kind of Google, Anthropic, those kind of hyperscalers, and now Accenture are joining that kind of league by essentially paying $1 billion for a CTO.
I can pull up
the framing. So there's a great X by Arnav Gupta.
I'm going to pull it up right now.
People are surprised at $1 billion comp packages Microsoft, Google, and Meta spent via acquisitions to get their AI heads. But even Accenture just got a new CTO by acquiring his company Faculty for $1 billion. AI is existential and companies will hire $1 billion AI CTOs more. I agree. This is going to happen way more. We talked about it on the last show, and we've talked about it before Christmas. It is the acqui-hire play. It's just going to happen more and more.
Yeah.
They haven't just got the CTO. They've got 400 other, world-class engineers, people who have been building, very integral parts of the systems, as you say, not kind of just the kind of hype cycle stuff, but genuine things that the UK government has been using and employing for years. And yes, it's a CTO, but it's also everyone else that's also important. There's 400 scarce talent basically buying the engineers, because Accenture are basically just not going for the consulting play anymore. Like, consulting is kind of dying, that pyramid is dying, and so they're trying to help their customers.
Trying to get lean, mean AI fighting machine.
They're trying to get to the top of the AI. Installing AI into businesses and all of that kind of stuff. And so this is a clear play.
Yeah.
Is it a $1 billion price tag play? Probably, right? Like, what's the ROI of $1 billion acquiring
they've just
faculty?
got some cracked people doing some cracked things. Basically, essentially, like
Over 400 people plus a CTO.
Mark was on the UK government AI advisory body. Like, he was, working on like critical national, AI infrastructure. He's now steering the like technological ship of Accenture. I think it's a great thing, and it's also just like a nice tick on the on the map for the UK AI folk.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst we were looking at that, we found another thing. So this is actually a quote, a screenshot from Henry D. Zoetti's Substack, which he wrote, which is basically about how to make government work, and was taking lessons from like British success stories, and like sort of listening out and going through them. But someone had found a segment of his Substack, which I'll pull up right now. A fella called Oscar Sykes recently put this post out on X. I'm just going to bring this one up as well. Oscar Sykes says, completely bananas that the UK government, not exactly famous for competence, built an AI institute in 2 years that's now world leading at finding dangerous capabilities in frontier models. He goes on to screenshot a segment out of Henry's Substack. That's Henry De Zoetti, just making sure he gets the credit. He is at Zoetti on X for those listening.
He's a cool guy.
And the quote is, this August, from a 4th floor office overlooking Big Ben, a group of UK government researchers were asking an AI model about biological weapons. The model was OpenAI's GPT-5, at that point unreleased. The researchers were members of the government's AI Security Institute. OpenAI had come to them for a simple reason. There is no one in the world more expert at discovering an AI model's dangerous capabilities. And that is for the homies in London.
Here we go. London's doing well. I think
You'll have to see that.
so his Substack had I read it, and basically what I took from it was the government should be funding more of these like highly elite kind of single mission teams, basically. It showed, and the X post basically showed, the AI Institute in 2 years is now world leading. Like, it can actually do things. And by funding these things, I think the AI Institute had upfront funding of about £100 million over the 2 years, and then longer term funding later. It's like funneling money in a very kind of particular way, in a very specific way, into these highly intelligent and highly kind of sought after teams, focusing heavily down onto a problem / solution that you're trying to solve. And yeah, that's like it maybe becomes a playbook. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a nice little drop of optimism. I love this post here. It's like, so Henry goes into talk about, I'm optimistic about AI. I believe it is our next general purpose technology capable of transforming everything from education to drug discovery. But all transformative technologies introduce novel risks. Our first job is to understand them, which is why the government established the AI Security Institute, AI-SI, 2 years ago. The AI-SI is not a typical story of government competence. Ken McCullum was not being hyperbolic when, in the same speech, he described it as groundbreaking. Where else does Silicon Valley come to Whitehall for expertise? That is such a cool line, and it makes me happy. Really awesome. Really awesome to see that.
Good on to the London teams. We love them. Shall we move on to our second story?
Let's do it.
The year of
We've
the
got
broadcaster.
The year of the broadcaster.
So Sifted released
decided by Sifted coming in recently. Year of the broadcaster.
Sifted released an article, 14 people in European tech who mattered in 2025.
I can go ahead.
We were there. I assume
that
we're broadcasters, thanks to Sifted.
I'm just going to pull this up for us so people can see. But that's funny, 14 people in European tech who mattered. I mean, just message to everyone else. If you're not in this list, you don't matter. That's apparently what's being said
Do
here.
you have two Bollingers personalised sitting on your desk?
If you're not in this list, I'm afraid
McLaren F1 car. I don't think so. Sifted said it's been a comeback year for European tech. Thanks to a fresh wave of AI native startups, the ecosystem clocked up its third best funding year ever, trailing only the heady days of 2021 and 2022. We've seen hefty deals and a flurry of investments. ASML backing Mistral, Vibe coding startup Lovable raising twice and hitting a $6.6 billion valuation, and data startup Nscale pulling in a monster $1.1 billion round. Not everything's been rosy though. Europe's best funded climate tech Northvolt filed for bankruptcy this year. Sad times. And sobering
Game over
indeed. Sobering symbol for a tough 12 months for the continent's greenest startups. But what about the people behind the headlines? We picked out 14 people who moved the dial in 2025. Well, I'd say 15 people because we were called as
we
the
count
ETN
as two.
boys.
We count as one person.
We count as one boy,
which
person.
is fair.
Number one, I mean, Anton.
It's Anton. It's Anton Osika.
Who's yet to come on the show. Anton, we're calling you out, dude. You got to come on the show.
We are working on it. We're getting closer and closer. They had a great party at Slush. Luke and I were there. For those who don't know what Slush is, it's the big sort of tech event in Helsinki. Lovable hosted a party there. That it went on into the wee hours of the morning. Actually,
didn't start until like 11.
Luke and I were in locked in mode, so we actually didn't.
It was the day before the live stream. Before
single drop of alcohol.
6 hours of live streaming, so we thought
we were on the waters.
We had to stay on waters.
When we were on the way, we said to each other, we were in an Uber on the way there, and we said, let's decide now. I remember I was like, dude, let's decide now. When should we head back?
Yeah, you're pretty
probably
good at this. You're good at this.
We should probably, we have to get up at like 5:30 the next day, and then we end up podcasting live streaming for
hard podcast for 6 hours.
6 hours straight, and then obviously like two and a half hours of prep the next day. Shout out to Orla, who's on the ground with us there as well, doing amazing work. And we were in the Uber on the way there, and I'm like to Luke, what time should we go? And Luke's like, let's just play it by ear. And I knew that if we played it by ear, we would have crawled in at 3 a.m. But we did not do that. We got home. We got home early.
We would have been sober though.
Hit the sauna actually. We hit the sauna when we got in.
Yeah, we
didn't
did.
we?
Yeah.
Shout out to Fergus as well. Players
place.
Fund also saunaing.
Speaking about people that were at Slush, Kitty Mayo.
We've got Kitty.
Again, yet to come on the show. Please do come on the show.
CEO of Project Europe.
Yeah.
Kitty Mayo was announced as CEO of Project Europe, an early stage fund backed by around 200 entrepreneurs and VCs in March this year. She was picked for the role by Harry Stebbings, the founder of VC firm and media group 20VC. Project Europe was announced to great fanfare. I remember their launch was done expertly well. I think it was, now they have more investors on that. Within the group, I think it's like 200 and something now, but initially I think it was something around 115 maybe. But they coordinated incredibly well in terms of like distribution. Like everyone was posting at the same time. They had a big launch video. They got 14,000 followers on LinkedIn in 48 hours, I think it was. I remember we spoke to Kitty actually a while back and famously said that I think during that launch she was on a mountain somewhere or in like.
Wasn't that Jade? She said that she was like hiking.
No, that was Kitty. Oh, really? She was like, she was like out in the middle of nowhere, but like in a crazy place with like no service, which is really funny.
And as soon as you get service, bang. Like
yeah.
A ton of
Bosh.
notifications.
Let's go to our bit. The ETM boys. There we are. Another pick in the new media category. Ronan Chambers and Luke Knight, aka the ETN boys. I'm having fun with my little thing here. Who launched Europe's answer to US podcast TVPN this year. They're building a following with their hours-long shows on News Editor for One is particularly devoted listener and hopes to sign a trade deal in the new year. If you are listening, News Editor, we are ready to sign a trade deal.
Although they're getting more elaborate. We've had an F1 car.
We've had some champagne. Yeah,
I'm talking to a company now that sent me a picture of a branded knife. You know who you are. It was like a.
Talking of knife crime, Luke was actually wandering the streets of London.
No, that wasn't me. That was the guy.
We can't reveal who it is, though. Obviously.
That was the founder of the
They'd
company.
go to jail if we did.
He was wielding a company branded knife in a box.
It's a huge knife as well.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, it was in a box though, and it was like curved. So I think it was
maximum damage.
What's the when you get like a bottle and you cork it.
Oh mate, we should do that on the stream.
I can't remember what it's called.
Is it corking it? I think you're right.
It's corking.
When you sometimes the top breaks.
There's a person who does it. Anyway, the people who run the company should know what that is. So please WhatsApp me because I gave you.
You should know that. Though. That's like a skiing thing, isn't it? Didn't people do that when they ski?
Every time they ski, yeah, they do that. Yeah.
I thought that's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't
Before
ski,
you hit the slopes, you have to.
I'm not a skier.
You have to cork a bottle of champagne.
Cork a bottle of bolly.
They
love to see it. Yeah.
Another friend of the stream was on the list as well. Max Junstrand, founder of Legora. Max Junstrand, co-founder of Swedish legal startup AI startup Legora, made this list partly because his company hit $1.8 billion valuation, symbolizing the fervent investor interest in legal AI we've seen this year, and partly because he gave the Sifted newsroom the year's most delightful unhinged quote.
Oh, can you have a look at that? Because I'm sharing my screen, so I'm sure it won't be too bad. But
I think he said, inside legal AI startup Legora's race of dominance, we wake up with the taste of blood.
That is so cool.
I did not see that.
Game over.
For anyone competing with Legora,
game over.
It's game over for you, buddies, because
Indeed.
they wake up
That's quite
with the
quiet,
taste
FYI,
of blood.
producer.
How did I not see that? How did I not see the
We wake up. And then obviously
We wake. I'm sorry. Wait, what was it? We wake up with the taste of blood.
So do we.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
We want to take over European tech media. We wake up with the taste of blood. Anyone who is getting in our way.
I wake up with the taste of a nice
you missed
flat
it,
white.
dude.
Would I miss the game over? You want to do it again?
We're taking over European tech media. Anyone going to stand in our way? It is
game over.
Indeed.
For you.
Quick shout out to our sponsor, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. Thank you very much. You'll see them in the Chiron. They're wicked. We love them. Hoorah to Polymarket.
If you want to profit from your knowledge, go to polymarket.com.
Indeed.
I've brought us back, so it's just you and I now. Back and I'm loving my little doodah here, my little gadget.
Good on you.
It's
We should move on to so xAI raises $20 million Series E. This is a big story that broke, I believe it was yesterday or the day before. xAI completes upsized funding round exceeding the $15 billion targeted round size.
I can pull this one up.
I mean, it's the escalation of the Elon Inc. megacorp. It's happening.
Yeah.
He's raised more money for xAI than I believe. I can't remember. How much does SpaceX raise? I can't remember.
A lot of money. Let's just read this out here. So xAI completed its upsized Series E funding round, exceeding the $15 billion targeted round size, and raised $20 billion. Investors participating in the round include Valor Equity Partners, Stepstone Group, Fidelity Management and Research Company, Qatar Investment Authority, MGX, and Baron Capital Group, amongst the other key partners. Strategic investors in the round include NVIDIA and Cisco Investments, who continue to support xAI in rapidly scaling our compute infrastructure and build out of the largest GPU clusters in the world. 2025 was a year of breakthrough momentum, where the xAI team advanced a multitude of key initiatives, including, wow, they just rattle off some big ones here. Data centers, xAI continues to expand its decisive compute advantage with the world's largest AI supercomputers at Colossus 1 and 2, ending the year with over 1 million H100 GPU equivalents. Grok Series 4. Let's talk about Grok for a little bit. Grok. So hold on a minute. Grok Series 4. Our frontier language models are built on the best in-class training infrastructure powered by Colossus. xAI has purchased reinforcement learning training to unprecedented levels, refining Grok's intelligence, reasoning, and agency using pre-training scale compute. Now, sorry, it's winter, so I'm sniffling a little bit. Grok. Do you ever use Grok?
I use Grok a lot. Yeah.
Really? Not for like at Grok, is this true?
I use Grok sometimes. I'm still.
I never use Grok.
I'm still on the ChatGPT game. They have a great feature just to move away from Grok.
Yeah, I can bring us back.
But I use Grok a lot more for like if I'm on X, I will go to, because I can go on Grok easily, right? Whereas if I'm on X
But
and I want to
do
go to ChatGPT, if I have something, if I read something and I'm like semi interested about it,
I don't even know how you do that. I don't think. Let's just check. Now.
You can just press.
Oh, my big Grok button right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's super easy.
Yeah, they should probably make that more. Yeah, if you don't see it, you use it every day. It's probably not great.
That's true. But like, I don't. It's weird though, because I think that I don't know. It's always in. If I'm gonna do something, like I don't have the Grok app. So yes, if I'm in Twitter, maybe that's my gateway onto.
I specifically don't have the Grok app because I can go through X. And so actually, what they were saying, and it's a good. There's a good take from someone I believe who used to work at xAI, but it's just like X is just obviously such a massive distribution. It allows you to get like normies basically on it. Was my thing. So it's like. I was on the football side of X the other day.
I can bring this up.
Sadly. And
wait, is this you, Chen Jin?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, I was on the football side of X the other day, and people like were using Grok like left, right, and center. Like yes, like they were saying in the comments, like, "Oh, Grok, do this for me," or Grok, what does this mean? Whatever. But like, it's not just tech, which is what we're trying to think.
I don't really count that as using Grok. I know it is obviously using Grok.
It
but
is.
Like, I
it's
think anyone who's
data.
like,
it's data.
No, but like I don't count that as like if I want to go and research something, I'm not going to like at Grok like go research this for me. I'm going to go and do it on like an LLM. Like I don't feel that. I don't feel that like that. Like as a daily user, if I want to use it for a task or use it for research, I'm not going to go into Twitter and then like comment under things like at Grok. I guess it does count as them using it because they are using Grok, but they're using it within like the context of that one thread of what that thing is. And I mean, like, the most of that I've seen that's kind of crossing into the world of like non-tech, not like specifically non-tech natives is like the at Grok, like remove all this person's clothes, or like at Grok, like turn this person into a clown. And it's like that seems to be
Grok's been the most it's been the most out there in terms of like potentially stepping over the line. I mean, yeah, you've got OpenAI kind of going into the more 18 plus vibe adult stuff, but Grok's also has more potential, with Elon Musk essentially just being more of a kind of stepping over the line on.
Yeah, he's unhinged, but he's always said from the start that he wants to make it more like he really enjoys it. There's loads of videos of him like laughing hysterically where he's like, "Oh, Grok, troll this person." Like, I remember a tweet he put out. He's like, a really good thing to do with Grok if you're with your friends is like ask Grok to like troll everyone in the room, like a roast, like a comedy, like the roast of blah blah. Like you can do roasts with your friends with Grok, and like Musk is tweeting out like, "Oh, this is hilarious." I think he had when he was on Joe Rogan, he was on recently. I think it was that one, maybe it was one prior. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was the recent one where he like gets they get it up on the podcast, which one is like an amazing like marketing opportunity, obviously, but like two. They get it up and they do like the roast mode, like the ask, like it's with the voice basically. So you get Grok up and you're like, "Hey Grok, roast Joe Rogan," or roast. I think Musk roasts himself. Maybe I'm not sure if he roasts Joe on the show, but and it is like super unhinged. But like I feel like that's more. I put the xAI stuff more in the bucket of the GPT realm, whereas like I feel like Anthropic kind of not in that realm in terms of like they seem more mission critical.
Yeah, so Yuchen Jin, sorry,
I can pull this up.
said this is if you go into the quoted post, OpenAI and Anthropic have different opposite cultures. OpenAI runs like a modern Bell Labs. 2 to 3 researchers spin up projects like GPT and Sora, then turn them into products. Maximal ambition from each kind of model to robotics to AI device. Anthropic is brutally focused. They believe coding is the path to AGI. Everything else is noise. No image models, no video models, no vague posts. It will be fascinating to see which wins. Then he comments on that and says the last sentence is misleading. He thinks both can win. It's just about building moats in different kind of verticals, I guess.
Then he does the quote tweet.
xAI has the most unique strategy and culture, in my opinion. It's the only AI lab that owns a social media, X. This means 2 things: real-time data and 250 million daily users. Elon's play is clear. Push Grok everywhere on X, hence maximum truth-seeking AI, bikini on everything. Annie, the companion, Grok is playful, unhinged, meme native, and very Elon. The xAI culture is super intense but fun. Employees post tent photos from the office, working until 4:20 a.m. Tesla drives them home after 36 hours of working with no sleep. Classic Elon way of building a startup. While others build the better models, xAI builds attention. And I agree, it's just a different way of building an LLM that people obviously have talked about before, owning X as the distribution play. But that's probably that is the reason why they've been able to land a $20 billion funding round, because in November when there were rumors coming out there was 15 billion, people were saying no, it was all speculative and no one really believed that was going to happen. It was like, no way you're going to raise that much money. But now they've just raised 5 billion extra, and it's kind of like, kicking.
I mean, I think
it's like another punch.
Betting on Elon is not something that one should do. I don't get me wrong, like the xAI, like building attention stuff, I think is great. I think that it's cool to have that distribution and like that access to the users of X equals your, that's a very easy gateway into onboarding people and like even like pushing public figures out as these are users of Grok. Yeah. Like I'm sure if you've used Grok once, you're probably classed as a user of Grok in whatever they push publicly, which I think is a smart thing to do. I guess it's not entirely accurate, but again, I'm speculating. But at the same time, it's great to build attention, but I think we've kind of got past the attention. Take Cluely, for example, right? Like Cluely, stratospheric rise into power. Like Roy Lee, I remember when he did Leak Code first, his followers went from 16K or something to, now is it I don't even know what is it now. It's probably over 100K, definitely. He used the attention he was getting to raise his round for Cluely, which he raised in 24 hours. He tweeted out I'm raising a round, who wants to be a part of it? He tweeted out 24 hours later, the round is closed. People dived at it. I'm pretty sure A16Z backed Cluely as well. They did an amazing job at building attention. I kind of think that they almost pioneered the high production launch video strategy in a way where it's no, it's not just a high production motion graphics thing, but they spent a huge amount of their cash on that launch video, over 100K, and it was a cinematic launch video, right? The cheat on everything was massive. It broke the internet, got something like 40 million impressions or views, which for a startup video is absolutely loads. Obviously not paid at all. And people were saying, oh, this is really cool because they're getting so much attention. Roy Lee is a marketing genius. He's a virality genius. And so was Ben, was one of their interns. He's now doing the Methods app, which apparently is at 3 million ARR, which is insane. And a few other of their team, they were just hiring influencers, right? They were hiring people that were professionals at getting attention, which is really good. And some of the pushback was attention's great, but where's the money? Where's the revenue? Blah, blah, blah. This is a business. You've put money into it. It needs to make money. And then he was posting pictures of like their ARR charts every week, and it was going up. And some of the investors were saying like, look, it doesn't matter about the attention sort of like pushback, like as long as an individual is able to convert attention into revenue, which I think Musk is good at. He can do that. However, like the hype will always die. So if you look at Clearly now, where are they? Nowhere. Yeah, they're gone. Whole team's left. I've not seen a post from Roy. They actually switched it to a note-taking app.
Yeah.
Well,
they did a hard pivot, didn't they? Because they had to.
Because they had to, but that's not that like again.
But it was. But that then comes back to what was happening a few weeks before Christmas was rage baiting a genuine like thing. Y Combinator got kind of like in the heat with backing. I can't remember who it was.
It was an ID that had like a Subway Surfers built into it.
Yeah. And so it's like rage baiting. Like is that the new kind of like meta? And people are like no, like that's not. You're not building any longevity. Look at Cluely.
Well, you're not building any loyalty from the people
because no one wants you to win. That's the thing. The key thing is,
well, they don't know you or the brand. I think it's flashy. It's too quick. It's in and out, right? Like,
if people want you to win, you will win. Like you will win.
However, we're obviously not saying that like Musk is, X isn't going anywhere. X is like they're having some of their best days. Yeah, I think the last after the
250 million daily users is wild. Also,
super
Grok
insane.
now #1 app in the productivity category, which is wild. I do not like X is not product.
Is that true? Like Grok I just don't know if that's true. Or
anyway.
Not.
It's the #1 in the productivity category on the App Store in Switzerland, which is rogue. Quoted by Musk saying,
you know for a fact he's not fact
Let's
checking any of that stuff. Like he's obviously just like, which is great. He's a great propaganda artist. We can talk to an Essie about this from Freight. But no, like obviously X has like a great lead with this sort of stuff. And yeah, this is just it's great for the space. We're obviously happy about it, which is good.
Indeed.
But yeah, let me just tell you about our friends over there at Spectre. I want you guys to be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade with Spectre. It's at tryspectre.com. I want you to harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in the private markets. Go to tryspectre.com.
Tryspectre.com.
Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade.
Indeed.
We meant to be having our first guest, as we mentioned earlier. So it is the Minister of AI at the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology. We did hear just before the show that we may be experiencing some delays with the Minister. Unfortunately, something is coming up in
the
government in the chambers.
It's been called to the chambers. We love that.
So I'm just checking.
Let's move. Is he coming on? Was he meant to come on in 15 minutes?
Well, he might be able to come on in 7 minutes.
Okay. Well, while we do that, I want to read out the Anthropic reportedly raising $10 billion at $350 billion valuation. Anthropic is gearing up to raise a fresh $10 billion. According to the Wall Street Journal, TechCrunch has confirmed the raise and valuation. According to a person familiar with the matter, the Claude maker raised a $13 billion Series F round at $183 billion valuation 3 months ago.
That's a lot of money.
It is. So this raise nearly doubles the AI firm's value. In March, Anthropic secured $3.5 billion at a $61 billion valuation. That is a lot of money. It is not as much as xAI has raised, half of which, and hasn't happened yet. It's still reported, so we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, there's two ways of doing it, and xAI is doing it very, very differently to all the other language models.
Yeah, let me pull. Sorry, I was just emailing
the minister.
The minister, well, his team.
Standard procedure.
We can pull this. I can pull this up for us.
But yeah, I mean, look, kudos to the Anthropic team, because in just 4 months they've like, I'm pretty sure they doubled their valuation, which is wild.
Yes, yeah. I've got the TechCrunch article up here.
Yeah,
have you read this out? Sorry, I kind of zoned out. Okay, you've read that. Just checking if everything is good. Okay.
We need to check
We have to
messages.
just see our messages just going back to
Okay.
our screen for that.
Sorry, we're just being told by producer.
Our producer
To do stuff.
is
Thanks,
keeping us in
producer.
the loop, which we all love. Yes, got it. Okay,
Should we talk about Swap raising 100 million Series C?
let's do. Oh wait, we're done with Anthropic.
I mean, yeah, that's
Already?
basically everything that you need to know.
Sorry, I zoned out when we were discussing that.
I was basically saying they've doubled their valuation. They're doing a great job. They haven't raised. Well, it's only reports, and it's half of what xAI has just actually raised. Only raised 10 million / hasn't actually done it yet.
Okay, yeah. They raised, what was it? 13 billion Series F, 183 billion. That was 3 months ago. Wow, yeah, that's insane. I'm seeing them all over. I love how now that previously it was always Anthropic. Now people are referring to it more as like the maker of Claude, and like Claude, because Claude's like everywhere now with
Code.
Yeah, it was like what do you call it? Opus 4.5. But everyone is saying that's like the closest step they've seen to AGI. And we've had this AGI chat. We get it all the time, obviously, but we had that also with Manus when Manus first came out. So I remember that was like only 2.5 years ago. No, less. Maybe a year and a half, 2 years when they actually went like fully fledged on their GTM strategy when they came out publicly as well. You can look at their X account. It was only created in 2024 in, I think, October. I remember this because at Convergence we were like, oh my god, these guys are so good. Like their GTM strategy was insane. They like prioritized their distribution. But that was a wrapper of like Claude. It was run on like Anthropic. And people were saying that was AGI. Then Claude dropped like Claude Code. People are saying that's AGI, and I've seen like the reactions from the space have been, you have to like shred through, because there are people on X who are paid to promote this stuff. Like they'll have like DM for collab. They'll usually be like, I post about AI trends in blah blah. Usually have like 100k followers, and usually like one person owns like a multitude of these accounts. So a lot of them, a lot of the posts will always be like, this is AGI, this is AGI, this is AGI. And they get a load of impressions. So you kind of have to be sometimes careful of like, you have to like sieve those out your mind, I guess, so you can actually look at like, who do you trust in the space that's actually reporting on certain things. And I saw one post, I don't have it, but it was essentially saying how like, it was like a developer, like an engineer, and they were saying how like almost sad they were. Like they used Claude Code and they were like, I use Claude Code now. I'm realizing that what used to take me, maybe a full day is now taking me, between an hour and an hour and a half using Claude Code. And whilst it's incredible to see like, these technological advancements and these improvements, like, isn't it, like, I can't help but just feel a bit sad that like the thing that I
love doing now just takes
imagine if you'd spent your whole life like, I don't know, playing the piano, and all of a sudden, like, I don't know what the comparison could be. I was gonna say like the piano suddenly has like only 5 keys. It's like,
if you come up with a new piano, maybe you can go and raise some money for that.
That's game over. That is funny, but no, we love to see that. I mean, I'd love to. We can chat to PolyAI CEO about all this. I just want to know like what's his take. He's like a AI genius.
Yeah,
his
he's genius.
Insane. It's insane.
Yeah, we're lucky to have him on.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a good conversation.
We're back on us, right? We're back on. I just want to send a quick email. I don't know. Yeah, we're cool.
Are we having the minister on?
I don't know. It's kind of like it's a little bit.
Just send him the send him the link.
No, they have the link in the calendar. You can just use the same one, I think. I'm just wondering. I'm just having a quick chat with their team. So it might be maybe 11:50 is good.
Well, just stay on top of it. While you do that, Airwallex, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Go to airwallex.com. They gifted us an F1 car.
Look,
I'm sure they'll gift you a lot more with outdated business being left behind.
What do we have next on the roster?
We've got...
Oh, we have the minister in the house.
Here we go.
Sorry, so sorry. I have to play our trumpet sound to announce that there.
Are we good? Can you hear us?
I'm just checking. You can hear us. We can hear you absolutely perfectly. I'm just wondering. I think we're getting you onto the stream right now. We can see you. I'm just not sure if our viewers can, Minister. We are good to go. Okay, we are live on the show. Kanishka, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, first question that we always say is how are you and how's your day going?
I'm feeling very fired up. I've been watching what you guys have been doing over the last few months, feeling really energetic about it, and it's great to be a part of it. So today is going very well. Done panels and chats, some good policy stuff, but this is the highlight. So excited to chat more.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
To hear it. Okay, so I mean, we can just get straight into it. For those who don't know you, I mean, obviously we do, but we always ask the guests to tell us who are you, what do you do, and what is your role as well?
Great. So I'm Kanishka Narayan, MP for the Vale of Glamorgan, elected in the last general election, but I'm also the UK Minister for AI and Online Safety. My role is effectively to make sure that the UK AI ecosystem is firing on all cylinders and pushing economic growth and productivity for the entire country. But alongside it, that we're doing it in a way which means that people feel dignified and supported and safe and secure online as well.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah,
awesome
definitely.
Stuff. I just want to. I'm going to be selfish here and just dive in with a question that we've been discussing on the show with a lot of people that sit at, obviously mainly in the tech realm. We haven't really had too many government officials on the show before, but we've discussed a kind of convergence of the world of policy and technology as well. Over the past sort of like year and a half, it's been a lot more prominent, which we think is a great thing. I'd love to get your thoughts on why that is starting to happen more and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I put a post out after we saw your video on X that was that did a number of impressions that we thought was great because it was unpolished. There was some. It was
very strange for UK politics to do something.
But
like
there was insider lingo, which we loved. So I'd love to know what's happening your side. Like, why are we seeing this convergence, and why should we be excited about it?
Look, there's a big picture thing happening here, which is that I think a lot of people in technology, you can see this in the UK, you can actually see this in the extent to which folks from tech in the US are getting engaged in politics and policy as well. A lot of people in tech have realized that the thing that motivates them, which is to try and shape a better future, a lot of that overlaps with the ultimate objective of government as well, and that those two things interact a lot together. And a lot of people in government, my intent was effectively to move from being a venture investor to moving to politics, because I felt like more and more politicians should also move closer to tech, understand this phenomenal thing that has the potential to make our society better, but also has all kinds of ways in which it affects people. And so the big picture is, I think the convergence is happening because people realize both technology and the exercise of government impact are really things that make a big difference, and if they work together, they can make a big difference. There are two very specific things about this moment that I think are really relevant. One, I think politics is now catching up with this idea that I think tech really caught up to 12 to 24 months, that content is a really important strategic lever. Historically, people will say, hey, let's go and do the investing, let's go company, focus on the market and how you get product market fit. But content was never seen as a really fundamental strategic lever. What's flipped in tech in the last 24 months is that, folks who've built amazing content businesses, Harry Stebbings at 20VC, but a bunch of folks, even Andreessen effectively became a marketing first venture fund. And what you guys are doing is really critical because people have realized in the contemporary context, attention and content is really impactful. Politics is catching up to that as well. And the intent with the video was effectively to say, we're in a different context where short video is the way you capture attention and tell stories that ultimately motivate people to do big things. And for that reason, I think content in politics is catching up with tech. And the second, I think, huge thing is that in British context, we're finding that, for a long time, the state has been the biggest funder of tech. The biggest LP in British venture capital has been the British state for a couple of decades. It's been one of the biggest customers of tech. It's been one of the biggest infrastructure providers in context of data centers and land and energy and planet. And all of these things are becoming so constrained that we now want to make sure that the conversation between technology and politics is closer. So the big picture is, look, I think these are both incredibly impactful worlds. They have to come together. But this moment is really critical because it is the moment for content, and it is the moment in which the constraints on technology, in part, are related to public policy.
I wanted to dive deeper into that, and you said kind of more generally that shift is happening. In terms of your day-to-day work and how you think about content, how has it maybe changed, and how are you thinking about it differently to maybe others who aren't kind of employing this kind of like general strategy?
Yeah. So there's this thing going on online where if you just look at what happened in tech 2 years ago, a bunch of founders basically said, hey, instead of just getting a PR team and doing stuff, we now need to go direct and go and do distribution ourselves and put ourselves on the line on Twitter and elsewhere. Last year, that moved from just going direct to going direct via short form video. And more people are trying to tell very authentic stories around it. I think politics needs to go on that same walk. So historically, if you think about mainstream trad media, government has basically put 90 to 100% of its effort there.
Yeah.
If you then think about short form video, government has put maybe max 5% effort there. And if you think about podcasts, community groups, grassroots stuff, government has put close to 0% there. And so broadly speaking, that mix of 90% mainstream, 5% maybe short form video direct, 5% or so on grassroots podcast type stuff, that's not the right mix. So the way I'm trying to think about this is how do we go where tech has gone and go in further by effectively going, yes, traditional media will continue to have a role, but I want to lean in massively to short form video as a direct way of communicating, and platforms like yours, which are really critical in shaping the narrative, and a narrative in tech and politics is so important. I want to make sure that we are where the people that we want to speak to are as well. And the big picture here is also very particular British mission, guys, which is that, one of the things I felt in the US when I was studying there, investing there, was that the reality is kind of, but the narrative is like up here. And the narrative just drags the reality up because everyone's so hyped up. And one of the things I think is challenging is that kind of reality, it's not too bad actually, but the narrative is kind of here and it just drags us down. And so the reason this is so critical, not just as a kind of spin thing, but a reality thing, is because the narrative needs to drag the reality into the future. And that's why I think this content question is really one of the central questions in politics and tech at the moment.
I think that's an awesome way to put it.
I agree.
The narrative has to drag that up. I love that. That's a great line. Speaking of the narrative, sort of paralleled with that, this vibe shift has been talked about. I think you've mentioned it on your X profile as well. This is the question that we had put in by Tom Westgarth, actually, who's done some work with the UK government before. I think he's only 18, which is incredible. Specifically on AI initiatives, but the vibe shift, like what sort of things would be evidence that a vibe shift has occurred?
Yeah, is there any material things that you could kind of say?
And I think we can feel it for sure. Like, the Fingleton Review, the work that James Wise is doing now as chair.
And more talk about it as well, which is great.
Yeah. But would love to hear from you. What does that look like in practice? What can we look forward to?
Look, I think there are 3 steps, guys. One, the short-term thing is you start to feel a sense of energy in the ecosystem because of initiatives that happen in the UK. If you get the repeat of last year, which was one of the record years for unicorn creation, I think this quarter is going to be even bigger than a bunch of bits of last year. Get a bunch of short-term stuff which says tech in the private system is really shooting at the kind of highest level, and then government is playing a role. We've got the sovereign AI unit that James is helping run. Tom Blomfield is involved with this initiative that we've got on AI more generally. We've got a bunch of the best people from Britain engaged with the British public sector and saying, stop having these false divides between private and public, but let's think of a single mission as a country we're pushing on. And so you've got some activity measures in the short term. What is the quality of people involved? What the level of activity, financing, all of those early milestones. The second step is to convert those into outcomes. We want to see a bunch more startups created here, scaling up here and staying here. And so the milestones there are effectively fundraising volume, ultimately revenue volume, because that's a really important thing. How much revenue is being generated by the best startups and scale in this country as a proportion of the overall global AI market at the moment. But the final step, the way I would really measure the vibe shift over the medium to long term is there a big cultural risk attitude shift right across every part of this country, all the way from capital allocated and a pension fund, insurance fund, venture fund, basically saying, to go and take some of those big leaps of faith that involve betting on huge asymmetric outcomes. Yes, there's downside, but the upside is so huge that we're going to take those leads rather than invest in dividend yielding businesses that have been going for a long time. That shift applies to people in politics saying we've got to take some big swings as a country, but it applies as much to every child growing up in this country, whether they're growing up in London or South Wales, basically saying, hey, look, the best thing I can do in my life is not necessarily working in law or finance or whatever else, but I want to take some big swings for both myself and for the country as well. So the big measure for vibe shift is, can we rescue this sense of deep British entrepreneurialism of going around the world and being able to be really boosterish and conquer a bunch of the commercial outcomes that I think are up for grabs when it comes to AI specifically. I think that's the logical shift. It's really the ultimate game for the vibe shift. That's on my mind.
Yeah, I was going to mention about it kind of all comes from the grassroots, right? And I guess if you look at countries like the US, where so many people are starting companies, and the amount of noise is great. You know, noise sometimes is thought to be a bad thing, but the fact that there is noise means more things are being started. What are you guys doing maybe specifically in terms of getting more people to start companies when they're younger, and you know, they might even be before university? There's that chat where university might not be the right place for everyone, and they're starting companies instead and going out on their own and going to learn the world. But then also after university, like in that kind of area in your early 20s / just before, what are those things that, you know, you might give as advice, I guess, for someone in that position thinking, I want to go and start my own thing. I want to, you know, I think there is a vibe shift, but kind of, what is that thing that you could kind of give advice to someone in that position?
Yeah, look, I think the big thing is, I remember, before I got this ministerial role in my constituency, I had this scheme called All Hands on Tech. The intent was basically to say that people are not shooting for big enough outcomes when they're 16 to 18, and we can radically shift that trajectory for people because they're amazingly talented. So what we did, we went and met a bunch of companies and said, will you take an intern from South Wales who's probably never thought about working in an AI company? And I had amazing people. These kids, Will and Aled, I'm sure at some point they might listen to this on Twitter, but Will and Aled are like 17 in a Welsh language school, sixth form in my constituency, wrote an email to me and said, we've got a STEM, we were learning for our A-level. We realized there are no Welsh language tech platforms teaching us how to do science and maths properly. We built it. And we saw you were in venture. We want to come and pitch to you. I was like, guys, you know, I'm kind of in politics now, but like, why don't you contact me and I'll put you in touch with legit venture people. They came, they pitched. It was an amazing pitch. These guys built a great platform. I sent it to every head teacher right across Wales. They went and worked at one of our unicorns, as you'll know very well. Will spent time shadowing the founder, has gone back, and suddenly his trajectory, I think, is going to be radically different. He's got to play Stanford as a result of this. This guy is going to do a huge amount for Wales and the country, I believe, in the future. And so the big thing is, yes, capital matters. We're going to jam more capital through a bunch of initiatives in the pension fund context, through the British Business Bank. Yes, compute matters. We're building data centers so that Britain has the right compute infrastructure. Yes, data matters. We've got a bunch of really schemes of data that is growing up, have all the fundamental inputs. But the fundamental thing is culture. And culture is a function of narrative and example. And so what we're really trying to do is find ways of scaling both of those things, scale the narrative so that kids really hear this, and exactly as you say, the more you have this kind of the value sense of a narrative here, the better it is for that. But the second thing is examples. And so we want to get more and more people like Tom coming back and spending a bunch of time in our school, really seeding the hope for young people and starting new companies as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. With regards to specifically, I guess the UK now, there's been a lot of work done with across AI that you've mentioned already, like in your X post as well. We've already talked about James Wise and Tom Blomfield. What is it that the citizens of the UK can be excited or / look forward to with regards to AI? You know, I think a lot of people are. I was reading a piece in City AM now. There's this morning, some people who may not be tech native are kind of scared of this thing, right? They're probably scared that it might take their job. And I think people who are inside the industry are maybe a bit more prepared for it. But I guess from the positive side of things, like what can the UK as a whole look forward to with regards to like AI and future developments?
Yeah, well, look, this is a central question because I think this year in particular, there are all parts of the political spectrum which can be supportive of tech, but there are opponents of technological progress on all parts of the political spectrum as well. And the challenge for those of us who believe that technology and innovation is a driver of progress and dignity is to win that argument there, because it's going to be central. And so to that extent, what can people look forward to? One, they can look forward to just the core infrastructure and jobs coming to their community. We've announced over 50 billion in investment in this country just since I've been in post for the AI role. We've announced that in the Northeast in Newcastle. We've announced that in South Wales. We've announced that in North Wales. And we're hoping we'll make even more announcements right across every part of the country. The big thing with AI, unlike SaaS, is that land, energy, planning, water, these other things start to matter as well. You can spread the upside of this way more than SaaS, which was way more concentrated in the Valley or in London. And so that's the big upside in the short term. But the big picture is capturing the upside in a way that matters to people's day-to-day lives. If we can deploy AI much more towards science rather than just slop, I think you start to build a picture of British AI that makes a difference to people's lives. If you start to make sure that a lot of our companies are spreading opportunity, like Will, growing up in South Wales, suddenly has the seed of hope, which he spreads across other friends and peers in that community. That's the sort of thing we want to do. I think the big opportunity with AI is people are thinking a lot about the first couple of rungs of the career ladder eroding, of, hey, you might get replaced if you're a young grad. The big thing people are not quite seeing as much is AI now enables you to jump across ladders and as a result climb rungs way quicker as well. And so for someone like Will, if he's able to go and climb this completely separate ladder and get a massive outcome out of it, it has a crazy disproportionate impact on the hopes and aspirations of kids right across the community. So, like, short term, yes, jobs, construction jobs, manual jobs, but also jobs in tech as a result of infrastructure. Medium term, show benefits of this in a way that is relevant to people's day-to-day lives rather than just depressing slop all the time. But the big picture for the long term is shift the cultural psychological attitude by being able to get people opportunities that were historically very constrained and now are just flat out open as a result of the disruption AI is causing.
Yes. I want us to talk about the Accenture deal buying faculty for $1 billion. Obviously, the biggest acquisition in UK AI. And I wanted to ask specifically, like, what are you excited about for 2026 with everything building in AI in the UK? Can you kind of give any examples of companies that you're like particularly bullish on, and some things that you're really excited about that we're developing here?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, first, I think I'm supposed to see Mark in about an hour, and it's been a great outcome for Mark and the team.
Tell him to come on the show when you see him. We'd love to.
Yeah, exactly. Mark and the team have done a great job at building a big company here, and a fantastic outcome for everyone there. And my hope is that he will continue that mission that he had at faculty of using all the team's capability in turbocharging British productivity through AI. And the fact that he has this big distribution network as a result of being a part of Accenture and CTO there means that our ability as a country to move at this at scale is enhanced. And I hope he really grasps that opportunity in the way that I expect he will. Well, the big picture is, look, I probably won't name specific companies, but let me talk about a couple of sets of opportunities that I think are really relevant. One, there's a big opportunity here where people have been very focused on scaling of LLMs, which is a really critical question, and a question as to whether that continues, really important. But language is one part of the overall sense of intelligence. We know this. We speak, and language is really important to our intelligence. But our vision, our 3D model of the world, our ability to navigate things, our ability to tie different sets of tasks together, all of these other things around tacit knowledge, around humanity, those are important. And there are a bunch of people in this country who are building fantastic companies in that context. Right? You'll know about what Alex and the Wave team have done in being able to build not just for autonomous vehicles, but through that to build a much greater sense of an understanding of the world visually as well, which can be applied in lots of areas. So one big area I'm interested in is non-language forms of intelligence and what Britain can do to capture a ton of the upside there, creating frontier companies in that context. The second area I'm interested in very specifically is a bunch of applied AI. I think people are rightly talking about scaling aspect means that frontier LLMs are really where a lot of the action has been. I think there's a world in which a lot of the value ends up actually accruing more and more at the agent layer and the orchestration of different LLMs underlying, not least because like 30% of the market is now open source LLMs rather than the big labs LLMs. And so in that world, what do you choose in which context? How do you deploy that in a smooth way? How does that integrate with workflows? that whole world of applied AI through agentic AI development, I think is really critical. And so I think there's a huge amount to go after in that context for Britain. And the third thing that I'm really excited about, like past industrial revolutions have always involved major transitions and an opportunity for the redistribution of power and upside. The big opportunity here is that whilst some white collar jobs are at risk and disrupted, the opportunity of Britain is if we capture the upside in robotics and manufacturing AI, you have this huge moment to effectively flip class context so that a kid growing up again in different parts of the country who might be working in a community close to manufacturing can now partner with AI to create world-leading robots, powers productivity, powers British prosperity, but it also flips this status symbol we've had in Britain that people who go to university and work in offices are going to power a bunch of our future. Well, actually now, people who have gone and worked with their hands and can go and build these robots and be augmented by AI in a deeper way, that just flips the blue collar, white collar distinction. That's the kind of deep prize at stake here. So those three categories of non-language intelligence, agentic AI orchestration, and then this thing, really critical thing around the intersection of the physical world and manufacturing with AI, I think are the three big opportunities that I'm excited about.
Yeah, that's
Interesting
awesome.
take.
That's really cool to hear. I know we're coming close to time. I have one, I guess, final question, or maybe two if we do have time, but you tell me. We'd love to just ask quickly about the Online Safety Act and the rollout of that as well. It was not just in headlines in the UK, but also headlines in a number of other countries. Was that a success or not? What's your take on that?
Well, like the implementation of the Online Safety Act is about 6 months into progress, and so I think people should be quick to judge whether it struck the right balance. The starting point is it's always a tough balance, right? Like there are currently a bunch of real life people who are having nudes made of themselves in an unsolicited, unwanted, non-consensual way. It is totally illegal here, and it is totally illegal, by the way, in the United States. And so there's a question of, is that the sort of thing the law should not allow? Yeah, I think both the British public and the American public thinks that's wrong. A big part of the Online Safety Act has been stopping child sexual abuse. Again, I think the American president, the American public, the British public, the British public political context feels like that's the wrong. And so, you know, our law is very, very clear on that. There are then some gray areas where there are tough judgments to be made about allowing free speech whilst making sure that the most egregious forms of harm, things that are unlawful offline and can convert offline violence, aren't supported. Those are tough areas, and you know, we're pretty early in the implementation of this. So there are specific areas in which people think the law should be tweaked to ensure that we're erring on the right side of that balance. I think that's important. But the big picture here is the Online Safety Act so far has focused on two main things: child sexual abuse duties and things that are illegal offline, also being comparably illegal online. If people think they have particular gripes with aspects of it, I'm very, very keen on listening to it. But the big picture answer to your question of is it a success or is it not, is this is a law that took 7 years to make and has only been implemented for 6 months. And so if it took so long and implementation is 6 months, I'm not going to judge whether it's been an outright success or failure. I'm keeping a close eye on it. We'll continue to tweak it and make sure we get to a better place.
Awesome stuff. There's one more from me, unless you have
go for it. Go for it.
This one is more of a fun one, I guess, but I have to ask. I'm not sure when we would get this opportunity again, but you may have seen the EU bottle cap innovation meme. There are memes everywhere. It's like China and DeepSeek's coming out, and you in the US you have OpenAI and all the amazing models. And then in the EU there was a bottle cap with the cap attached to it. I just have to ask your opinion on the meme and if you like it or not.
Look, the bottle cap hit against my nose as well, right? Like it's a bit annoying. I kind of feel the pain of that, and the fact that we've obsessed about this thing is part of it. But I'll just place it in context, right? There are a bunch of things about a bunch of countries that I also find annoying. So in the US, I find it crazy that the payment system in the US is so far from the UK that when you're trying to pay for something, you actually have no sense of the prices because they're on a bunch of taxes, and then they can't go take the thing away, and then they bring you the paper back. They ask you to do a certain tip, and they ask you to wet something, and then they take that thing away as well. It's maddening. If you're trying to travel in the Bay Area, the home of the frontier of technology, you take a train from Caltrain from Palo Alto into SF, and then it just stops, and there's nothing because they've basically not been able to build anything. as a result of a bunch of regulatory stuff there as well. And you just stop. You can't actually get into the city. And this area called Silicon Valley, which, by the way, is like 2 hours in travel distance. It's kind of like London to Swindon being thought of as like one area, and then Birmingham, and maybe all the way down to Southampton. This whole area is so disconnected and so terrible from a travel and user experience point of view. And so the thing I think of is, why is it that a lot of our narrative has focused on the bottle cap, which, to be clear, is very annoying when you're trying to drink out of the pool. Why is it that we've really over-anchored on this thing and forgotten that in London, for example, most of the Gemini team sits in King's Cross. Protein folding was here. Some of the biggest leaps that Google has made have come out of King's Cross. And some of the biggest things in science, yes, slop has been conquered by the Valley, but science has been really shown to be driven by London. I would happily take that bet. And so for me, the big question is, let's try and really talk about, in the first instance, what we're happy and proud about. But in the second instance, I don't want to be complacent about it. There are still too many bottle cap examples and not enough protein folding examples. We need to absolutely flip that. And a big part of what we've talked about today, right across capital, infrastructure, data, but at the very heart of it, culture and content is really key to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so
I agree
true.
wholeheartedly. Thank you so much for coming on. We really, really, really appreciate the time. And if you ever want to come on, genuinely open seat.
We would love to have you back, Mr. Kanishka. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Awesome to chat, guys. Thanks a lot for what you're doing.
Nice one. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Right.
That was awesome.
Awesome conversation. A conversation for the ages.
Yeah. What an absolute legend.
That was good. Thanks for asking that question. Completely forgot about it.
Which one? The bottle cap.
Cap.
I just had to ask. I just had to when are we gonna get that opportunity?
Dude, you gotta be more on the trumpets. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Let's just do it now.
Thanks to Kanishka. It's pretty quiet on my ear, FYI.
Yeah. I was kind of waiting for it then.
Next on the show, we have Nicola Merckx. He is the co-founder and CEO of PolyAI. It's going to be a great conversation. But before we do that, quick word from our sponsor, Spectre. Be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade with Spectre. Go to tryspectre.com. Harness the power of live data, AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets. They're wicked. We use them in the Chiron. We love them.
They're beasts. They are
beasts.
Shout out to the team. They also feature Marco and Dominic, founders of Spectre, featuring our Como promo
vid.
That ended up being more of like a sort of like rom-com of Luke and I. It's like a 2003 rom-com trailer that you'd watch. But hey, launched it anyway.
We thought it looked
pretty good.
Now we've got a bit of time. Did we talk about swap, or should we go into swap?
Let's do swap. I can bring swap.
If you bring it up,
this is we are trying to get the swap co-founders on the show, but as one can imagine, they are pretty busy right now. But they have just. I'm going to bring this up so the folks listening and watching can see. As you can see here, the e-commerce operating startup Swap raises $100 million. The Series C follows just months after Swap's $40 million Series B round. This is in tech.eu. London headquartered e-commerce operating startup Swap has raised $100 million in a Series C funding round. The round was co-led by existing investors Iconic. Shout out to the Iconic team, friends of the stream. They are helping us connect. And DST Global. There is Series C follows around 9 months after Swap's Series B round when it raised $40 million led by Iconic. Swap has now raised $149 million in total. Really interesting and a lot of velocity going on behind here. I also love their
commerce. I feel like it's a bit of a you don't really see it too much in
yeah, it's like people are dubbing this like a Shopify competitor, which is quite interesting.
And you don't see that's more of a kind of 2018-ish type deal. And they're still plugging away. It's great stuff.
Yeah, no, really awesome.
Great to see. Congrats to the team and Sam Atkinson. Hopefully we can get him on.
They're only 3 and a bit years in as well, which is crazy to see. Obviously there's going to be AI within the platform, but yeah, founded in 2022. Swap provides a platform for e-commerce brands to manage their logistics instead of brands relying on multiple providers for tasks like cross-border shipping order tracking, returns, tax, and inventory forecasting. Swap provides them all in one operating system. So yeah, Sam Atkinson, founder, CEO of Swap, has said, "We have built an existing fleet of products that enable any brand to scale globally. Building upon this foundation of global commerce solutions, we will continue to help brands reach their full potential, leveling up on the promise to be the go-to platform for brands to sell anywhere, anticipate intent, and convert more business." And they've also done a partnership with Adyen, a massive Dutch payments platform. They've said it will their partnership with Adyen, it will use the funds to bolster its payment capability, investing in digital payments and targeting new markets. The London headquarters startup also has offices in the US, Israel, and the Netherlands, and is targeting expanding into markets across Europe and North America. We are trying to get the Swap co-founder on the show. I'm just going to bring us back to Luke and I.
I have just accidentally loaded LinkedIn, but it's come up with a great post from friend of the show, Zain Mubarak. Saturday 24th, they are hosting Cafe Inc. for Incident. For the first time, we're opening up our office for Cafe Inc., free curated co-working days for founders who want to deep work together alongside people who get it.
Cafe Inc.
Hopefully there's free coffee. I don't know. Zain, let us know. And we'll pop by on the 24th.
When is that happening?
24th of Jan.
In London?
Yeah.
Oh, 24th Jan.
Fun times.
Okay.
Incident.io was built in London, surrounded by other founders doing the same hard thing. That community mattered more than we probably realized at the time. So we want to give it. We want to give a bit of that back.
Yeah.
Shout out to Zain. Well done.
Yeah,
Congratulations to him.
We had a great chat with Stephen.
Stephen
over at Slush. Stephen is the co-founder of Incident. And yeah, we sat down with him for I think maybe 20 minutes at Slush.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good conversation.
That was a really good conversation. Zain had hooked it up. Zain was I think waving in the background then. He was delivering.
Yeah, Zain was delivering some caps. Well. We got a nice t-shirt from Zain. It was good. Did we? Yeah. I got a nice t-shirt.
Oh, Zain, where's mine?
Maybe he gave. Yeah, I still haven't yet given him his cap as well. It needs. Yeah. He's got one coming. Shout out to Caps. We should. We did the trade deal. Obviously, got our lovely Bollingers, and we gave 2 caps away. We said we gave one, but we've already because we already gave one to Jonah, and then we gave one away yesterday. Again.
In the trade deal, it was only 1 cap, though. I think only 1 cap was given in the trade deal. Yeah. Talking about trading, let me tell you about Polymarket. It's the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. If you want to do that, you want to make some money, go to polymarket.com. Probably follow up with that's not financial advice because I just said go make some money, but maybe.
Yeah, not financial advice. Can we jump into the Europe Maxing Manifesto? I kind of just want to like.
Well, let's just finish off the news first. You know, we got a nice one here.
Fine.
We've got China reviews Meta's $2 billion Manus acquisition. So for those who didn't see recently, I've got a button undone there. For those who didn't see recently, Manus was acquired for rumored to be $2 billion. It's been modelled out. I think Ramp modelled out what the potential price tag could actually look like, and it seemed that their numbers looked more like it could be worth between 4 and 6 billion. Manus were doing 100 million ARR at the time of the acquisition. I'm going to pull up this article.
Fairly rare acquisition from a US company to a Chinese-rooted company. Pretty rare.
So I'll just bring that up. So Manus, like I remember, so Manus, as I was saying earlier, like Manus, they were Chinese co-founded startup, and then I think they relocated most of the team to Singapore. But Manus was a wrapper of Anthropic when they first came out. But essentially, the product was a sort of multi-agentic system.
The rappers are still winning.
Rappers are still winning. Like, dude, like look at this. This is a $2 billion.
They get all purchase. They get all the slack, but a very big acquisition.
I remember it's like like we were operating in the same space at Convergence, and I think that we were doing browser-based agents. They also it was like a browser-based sort of thing at first, but they were doing this sort of like multi-agentic like workflow where it could create games for you. But again, it was a wrapper of Anthropic. But the way they went about taking that product to market was probably the most impressive GTM strategy I've seen, like especially for like an AI startup in maybe ever. But what they did was they locked access to the product, which is one good. They built an X platform where any sort of B2C. Initially, they were consumer. Now I think they're doing some work with enterprise as well. Any sort of B2C app should be taking full advantage of. They should have an X. When we see a business that does B2C and we see that they don't have an X, it
Game
is
over.
game over for those people. I'm not sure if our Halo thing is working, but it is. Okay, nice.
We can't hear it.
I couldn't
but
hear
it
that,
is.
so I had to like voice over
FYI.
it. Game over. But I
Maybe
think
try
it
the
is.
trumpets just
I
one more
think it
time, just
is.
to see
Just
if it
check.
works.
Well, you have to say something positive if I'm going to do the trumpet. We can't.
Kanishka Narayan is an absolute beast.
Yes, he is. Let me play that trumpet. He is an absolute legend, and we're so thankful that he came onto our show. Anyway, going back to China reviewing Meta's $2 billion purchase of AI startup Manus, what I think is critical is, what they did incredibly well was they locked access to the platform and built essentially not like, yes, they had a waitlist strategy, but they were leaking. I just one-shotted this Minecraft style game using Manus. It would build it, one prompt, build me a Minecraft style pixelated, blah, blah, blah. And it would one-shot it and it would have it up there and they'd share the video.
Didn't Levels.io build his plane game on it?
That was just using Claude. That wasn't
was
on,
it? Okay, fine.
On Manus. But what they did was you could see that it was one-shotting things in a wrapped way. Like you probably could have done it on Claude at the time anyway, but in a wrapped way where it looked really nice and like you could see these sort of agents all working together. And then they asked the timeline to tweet them prompts. So they were like, send in what you want built and we'll reply with the video of it being built, which is like one, really ballsy because you can't fake it then, right? You could fake a video. You could set up like the benchmarks or the testing environment to create a very obvious, look at us, we're so good. But when they were doing it live and they were getting the feedback from the market where I could tweet in, I didn't do this, but people were tweeting in and saying, build me a game. They'd reply to that comment with a video of the exact request having been done. So like, I think that they, and then I think they, they're over 200,000 followers on X. So when they did actually launch and they opened it up, I think it was localized first, then they went to the US, and then I'm not sure if they actually ever did Europe, but the floodgates were opened, and I think it was like $2,000 a month for, I'm not sure if that was the top tier or not, but like they executed so well.
Was it only enterprise customers?
No, that was for consumers.
That was just flat price.
They had it was a tiered list, but I think 2,000 might have been the most expensive. But that wasn't even for businesses. That was for consumers. But people were paying it because they were like, this thing is lit. Yeah. That at the time was
a
like,
one-shot.
oh, Manus is AGI. Like I remember very like well-respected people in the industry were sort of coming on and saying like, they weren't saying it's AGI, but they were like, this is the closest step up that we've seen to that world.
Let's also talk about the, I don't know, maybe you aren't finished. Were you finished?
Well, I'd love to go into like China reviewing this. Sorry, I've just rambled.
I wanted to go into
about,
just quickly the Meta side of the deal and why strategically they've done this. I mean, Meta are behind in this race. People aren't now calling it a race after Dan Wang's like 2025 letter, but it's a $2 billion price tag to go like shoot up the ranks basically to get that, and then he just feeds the kind of, because they've already got the distribution model, all of that kind of stuff is done. It's integrating it into that. How do they do that? And Mark is obviously like world class at doing that. Mark Zuckerberg, that is, and so it's feeding the kind of distribution system that he's built with this world class AI, and that is a $2 billion price tag because it allows you to get up into the ranks of the other language models that are seriously I think winning against a company like Meta with the amount of cash that company spits out.
Yeah, they've been awfully quiet, right? Like their super intelligence lab, they've had, obviously it was fair, they acquired xAI and have Alexander Wang there. But like, I don't see, I'm just curious as to, one, what is I just don't see this being rolled out as a consumer product within Meta. I just don't think, they've acquired it for, obviously the team and the expertise and like the technology. I think everyone's staying in Singapore, but
that was why the China was reviewing.
So yeah, well let's talk about this because it's interesting. We're getting a bit distracted, but so Chinese officials are reviewing Meta's $2 billion purchase of artificial intelligence platform Manus for possible technology export control violations in a move that potentially gives Beijing leverage over the high-profile transaction. The deal announced last week is a rare case of a US group acquiring a cutting-edge AI startup with Chinese roots at a time when Washington and Beijing are locked in an increasingly fraught competition over a range of advanced technologies. Two people familiar with the matter said officials in the Commerce Ministry had begun assessing whether the relocation of Manus' staff and technology to Singapore and the subsequent sale to Meta required an export license under Chinese law. Like I feel that this type of thing would always invite some sort of reaction.
Well, look, as I said at the beginning, it's a rare acquisition from a US company of a like inherently
Asian-based
Chinese-rooted company, which Manus is.
Yeah.
But the weirdness has come from the fact that all of the engineers are staying in Singapore, and it was when they moved across, when it was bought, had they moved across already, that was when I think that's the discrepancy of they need to review whether it was like a US company or not. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
that's a review.
We were getting some. We can go back to us with that. We were getting some feedback from the market on X. I think. Where was it? Henry Zhao's take on the Manus acquisition. This was actually pre-article, I'm pretty sure. So I'm just going to pull this one up and have a look at it. Henry is saying that Meta has just landed a devastating blow to Chinese AI strategy by taking over Manus. The message is unmistakable. Only Chinese firms willing to uproot themselves entirely and leave China behind can access real capital, talent, and global scale. The exodus is coming.
Essentially, what they're saying is, and it says it in the FT article, while the review is in early stages, might not lead to a formal investigation, the need for a license could provide Beijing with an avenue to influence the transaction. The reason being is because it offers a potential way for companies to basically physically relocate out of the country to bypass domestic supervision. That's what they're saying. So do they leave and do their stuff and then potentially come back as what the Manus team have done? I don't know, but that's what they're saying. Is there a loophole? And it's known as a practice. It's becoming known as Singapore washing to describe the effort to shed the geopolitical sensitivities associated with operating from China.
Oh wow! So it's just that's almost a playbook in a way. Is what people are saying.
So and then the X post from Henry Guao basically says the exodus is coming in terms of this is the strategy. A $2 billion acquisition has proved that with a highly known company, Meta.
But you just got to go uproot to Singapore, and then you're on the market. You're on the market for sale.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess that's. As I said, there's always going to be these sort of fear-mongering things. It is probably something that and the Chinese would be upset about. Probably, I'm assuming. I mean, that's just that's talent. That's cash leaving their ecosystem. It's everything. Yeah. Well, congrats to the Manus team, though. Been working for 2 years, and that is a very large acquisition over 2 years, and 100 million ARR as well.
Very, very large. Last bit of news was the CES 2026 tech so far, the most bizarre tech that comes out of CES so far.
This is really funny.
This is hilarious. There's a few that I really like.
I'm just checking. Okay, yeah, Nicola's not coming on till 1, so we good. This is really funny.
The first one's great. An AI anime companion that watches you from your desk. Razer Project Ava It's so rogue that it's Razer. Originally introduced last year as an esports AI coach, has evolved into something new, a 5.5-inch animated holographic desk companion that can assist with gaming strategies, productivity, daily organization, and even personal advice. It's both a gaming ally and an everyday assistant. Users can choose from different characters such as the anime girl Kyra or the muscular Zane. These digital avatars feature lifelike movements, eye tracking is rogue, expressive faces, and lip syncing from realistic interactions. What really stands out, though, is the constant monitoring. The device watches you and your screen using the built-in camera. It's a bit unsettling, but since it's still just a concept, there's no guarantee it will ever become a product. This is basically just an evolution of an Alexa or what was the Google one?
It reminds me of the Hugging Face one.
Well, that was like maybe that was just before this, and then now it's the Razer. Then again, it's a concept.
It's a mini robot, right?
Well, yeah, it's a hologram.
5-inch animated. It's a hologram. Oh, so this is like the Halo 3. What's her name now? Katana. Forget her name. I think it's Katana. Like a mini hologram that you can walk around with. That's kind of cool. Which one are you going to go for, Luke? Are you going to go for the anime girl Kira or the muscular Zane?
I don't know if I want to think about it, to be honest.
You don't want one. Maybe you prefer a cuddly AI panda robot for older adults. Anne, the latest AI pet from Mind with Heart Robotics, combines an adorable design with a meaningful mission supporting elderly care. The Panda Bot has high-tech sensors all over its body, so it reacts naturally when you touch it. Its emotional AI remembers your voice, how you interact, what you like. So the longer you spend time with Annan, the more personalized it gets. It provides around-the-clock emotional support to combat loneliness. Additionally, for older adults who might be struggling with memory, Annan helps keep them engaged, reminds them about daily tasks, and keeps caregivers in the loop about their well-being. That, I think, is awesome. It's quite funny that they've chosen like a cuddly panda though. Maybe that was like the thing that passed all the tests in terms of cuteness.
Yeah, maybe.
Final
one, I think, before we jump into
you just
into the town hall. That's. I mean, it's nice, but I think the knife one's the coolest one. Continuing, we were talking about knives at the beginning. An ultrasonic chef's knife.
Hey, what about the ice cube maker? We haven't even talked about the $500 ice cube maker.
I thought it was a coffee machine.
AI ice cube maker.
Euro maxing. I thought it was a coffee machine. An ultrasonic chef's knife that vibrates when slicing and dicing. Depending on who you ask, the kitchen gadget could either seem too silly or very useful. What do you think? It's too silly or very useful?
I need to hear more. I need more.
Unlike traditional knives, this one from Seattle Ultrasonics features a blade that vibrates at over 30,000 times per second, allowing it to move through food with ease. This vibration technology means the knife acts much sharper than its physical edge, making tasks like slicing vegetables, meat, blah, blah, blah. According to the company, the vibrations are so subtle that you can't see the blade move, hear, or feel anything in the handle. I would buy that.
That sounds cool. I think I've seen a video of that being used. But
then again, couldn't you just put a little motor, I don't know, in a Bollinger bottle and just slice a load of stuff with that?
Probably not. I'm not
or
sure
a phone.
Physics would let you do that, mate.
Well, if you think about it, it doesn't have to be sharp. It's not a knife. Just make a...
That is a knife.
No, and I know it's a knife, but how sharp is that knife?
I don't know. Probably pretty sharp.
But why?
It's a real chef's knife.
Yeah, but it says it doesn't need to be. The vibration technology means the shaft acts sharper than its physical edge.
Yeah, not
so
that it can be blunt.
You're buying a blunt knife.
No, you're buying a sharp knife that can be sharper when it vibrates. You can turn it on and off, right? So you can probably use it when it's off. I'm assuming. Anyway.
Why would you do that?
I don't own one. Well, it might run out of battery. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Look, let's move on to musical lollipops that play Ice Spice in your head.
I thought that was the last one.
No, we got loads here. We got a couple more. I want to look at them as well because they're awesome. We also missed the Ice Cube maker, which is a real shame. Musical toothbrushes exist, so why not have music playing lollipops too? Have you used a musical toothbrush before?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I had one that I can't remember what it played, but probably something dreadful and horrible. But I forgot this was a thing. Lollipop Star showcased its tasty products at CES, which delivers music through bone conduction while in your mouth. The technology works by sending vibrations through your skull bones directly to your inner ear. That's insane. The lollipops also provide a burst of fruity flavor. You can choose from 3 artists: Ice Spice, Peach, Acorn, Blueberry, or Armani White Lime. Wow, that's insane. I'm not sure you'd want that because you only get to enjoy it for how long you're eating your lollipop, don't you?
How much is it? Does it say a price?
It doesn't say the price. Why? Are you a buyer? You're looking
well,
to,
no, I'm just saying if there is a price,
then
like surely it can't be that expensive because it just runs out.
Well, yeah, it'd probably be like, I don't know, $8 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. We've also got a Wall-E inspired robot that patrols your home and can also join you on camping trips. What a bizarre like extra thing. I'm sure could it not join you in the car, in the park? But it can join you on camping trips. Xeroth Robotics introduced the W1 at CES, a robot reminiscent of Wall-E. The W1 is a programmable companion designed for families. According to the company's website, it's $4,999. The robot offers around-the-clock AI-powered security, 360-degree mobile surveillance, and integrates with smart home devices for instant smoke and intrusion alerts. So this is like a mini guard robot a little bit. But why does it... It's also marketed... Because they mentioned in the title it can also join you on camping trips. I'm just trying to... Why specifically that?
You know what also is a bit of a guard thing and can join you on camping trips is a dog.
That's true.
So why don't you just buy a dog?
You could just buy a dog.
Buy a dog.
Can a dog transport camping gear, follow you around the campsite taking photos as a family photographer, and supply portable power so you can enjoy entertainment on the go? Don't think a dog can do that, mate. So why don't you
Depends what you strap it to its back.
You tell your dog
Okay.
it's
Game over.
game over
game
for those
over.
dogs because
Game
the
over.
Xeroth Robotics W1 is the new household pet that everyone is looking forward to in 2026. The company hasn't mentioned whether the robot can sort trash or retrieve trinkets, which I'm pretty sure a dog can do. A dog can retrieve a trinket.
If you train it well enough, it can.
The famous game of fetch, for those not aware, but it can't be a household pet, unfortunately. Xeroth Robotics.
Let's
Anyway,
move on from this.
back to the host.
We have 20 minutes until our next guest comes on, but I think we should go to Europe maxing, please. Surely.
Yeah,
gotta be
okay.
done.
So we're gonna take a trip to the town square. Is what we're gonna do.
Taking a trip to the town square.
The global town square, otherwise known as X, otherwise known as it used to be known as Twitter. We're gonna have a look at what's going on in the town square today.
We're going to read out our manifesto, Europe maxing, although we like to call it Euro maxing. Shall I read this out? Are we
I'm
on?
gonna pull up the.
Do you want to pull it up?
Euro.
While you do
maxing
that,
thing,
I
and I'm
will
gonna share
start.
my screen.
The alarm clock is a psyop. Waking up before your body is ready is spiritual violence inflicted upon you by HR departments and shareholders. If you are rising before the sun to look at a spreadsheet to generate shareholder value, you are already dead. Your circadian rhythm is your only dictator. Stop meditating. Stop trying to hack your brain. Do nothing. Literally nothing. Stare at a river until you feel reality dissolve. The aimless walk is the only cardio you need. No step counter, no Garmin, no optimization. Just walking through the streets until your feet hurt and you need a rest at a cafe. Lunch is not a time slot in Outlook. Time is fake for a Europe maxer. We reject the ontological evil of the sad desk slot bowls, eat the decadent meals, drink the wine at 1 p.m. because the sun is out. Day drinking is a marble column of Western civilization. The two Negronis at 2 p.m. is a celebration of your ancestors. The cigarettes aren't going to smoke themselves, and health is a construct anyway. Your body is a temple. It's a vessel heading off a cliff. Enjoy the ride before your soul flies out.
Just beautiful stuff.
And then it, right at the end, underneath the picture, says Mads, a Europe maxer, who is known very much on X for being the #1 Europe maxer.
Yeah, doing good numbers as well.
He's got to come on the show.
3,000. 3,000.
Maybe we have a Negroni.
Yeah, 3,000 likes, 292,000 views. Yeah, mad. I wonder, like,
Are you
who's
living as a
running this
Europe
account?
maxer?
Am I running as a Europe maxer? Trying to. Yeah, I do walk around a lot. I often walk places. Obviously, it's getting a bit more difficult now with the snow and the ice and stuff. A lot of black ice around my house. It's getting a bit more dangerous, but I do think I tend to.
You're living the Europe Maxer life to a 60 percentile.
I don't smoke. I have a Juul. I don't smoke cigarettes.
That's
though,
quite
so
Euro-
you kind of have to. You have to
quite
smoke
Euromax.
straight. I think though, if you're
Yeah,
Euromaxing, I think that's probably one of the bigger rules. The alarm clock.
And that's what Mads is smoking in the
Well, we can
picture.
list off a few. Like the alarm clock is a psyop. Agree. Mine doesn't even work, which is a shame. Waking up before your body is ready is spiritual violence inflicted upon you by HR departments and shareholders. In a fun way, that is kind of true, right? Like if you're waking up for your job and you're not ready for it, technically,
it's true.
that is,
Which means it's true.
spiritual violence that has been inflicted by the HR departments and also the shareholders. Yeah, that's fair. That checks out. If you're rising before the sun to look at a spreadsheet to generate shareholder value, you are already dead. Your circadian rhythm is your only dictator. Is that true? I mean, it's tough here because I'm caught between maximizing shareholder value and also respecting the Europe Maxing manifesto. So yes, your circadian rhythm is your only dictator, but for those who might not be familiar with the Europe Maxing manifesto, also that you're also generating shareholder value is your dictator.
Yeah.
So now we're caught between this sort of, I'm it's rock and a hard place. Like one, I want to increase shareholder value at all times, but two, I don't want to go against the dictation of my circadian rhythm by getting up early and looking at a spreadsheet to generate shareholder value.
It's the modern conflict.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a tough one for those who are Europe maxing because you always want to be shareholder value maxing as well. Stop meditating. Do you meditate? You meditating?
No, I'm not meditating.
No.
Are you a meditator?
I've dabbled with a bit of meditation. Yeah.
Some people say it changes your life.
Did it change my life? Not really.
Well, if you're not doing it anymore, then probably not. But
true, I probably would have stuck with it if it changed my life. Or maybe did it change
Indeed.
my life to a point in which I no longer needed to meditate? Did I find enlightenment? I didn't. I just went to bed a bit earlier and quicker because it was quite relaxing to do, to be honest. But no, not really a meditator, actually.
Fair. And then we had a rebuttal as well. Not a rebuttal, but a regular maxing changed my life.
This
That's
is
what
awesome.
actually
Okay,
changed. your
yeah,
life.
we're back on us, right? I can pull the next one up.
We can pull the next one up.
Yeah, we're good. Cool.
Regular maxing
I've seen this somewhere
changed
before.
my life.
This is not the first time I've seen this, but I think I think originally I also saw it from Dennis as well.
Do you want to read this out?
Dennis is a regular maxer. I think he's done a post about this before, but this one absolutely banged. So, and I had a chat with a few friends about this actually, which ended up being quite funny. But I'll read out the tweet first so everyone can see it. But Dennis says, regular maxing changed my life. I go to the same cafe every day to work and tip between 30 and 50%. Now I walk in like I own the place. They give me a paid for parking spot. When I bring friends, they get orders for free. Can make myself off menu drinks. Can send my parcels there. They are community. Introduce me to other regulars. I get employee Wi-Fi. I keep my Mac charger there. I did that in NYC, CPT, BCN. It worked everywhere if you stop chasing the dopamine of new. Interesting take.
Become a
maxing.
regular maxer.
Look, I think this is cool. And you do kind of
I mean,
like,
technically, as a live show that goes live 2 days a week, trying to get to 5, that's pretty regular maxing. We are regular maxing.
yes, that is regular maxing.
Yeah. We're living the life.
We're doing the thing regularly. But this is funny because this is kind of like a compounding task in your local area. Like Dennis, it seems to be, is reaping the rewards of compounding value,
Yeah.
but just at his local
In a physical
coffee
location.
shop,
Yeah, indeed.
where the transaction is a premium cash payment on, local cafe items, maybe a coffee and a croissant. And what he's getting back is paid for parking spot, free orders for mates.
I'd say the ROI
It's
is
kind of
quite
like
high.
he's got like a platinum subscription to the local coffee store. It kind of seems like. So maybe regular maxing is something that we should all be doing as much as we can. It would be great for local businesses. It would boost the local economy. You'd probably make some great friends along the way.
Preach
and also,
to the regular maxers out there. You're doing wonderful things.
He's doing wonderful things. But imagine
For
if
the
I,
economy.
you know, if I walk into a cafe with my mate, I was like, "Oh, do you want to get a quick coffee or something?" And he's like, "Yeah." And in there, everyone's sort of like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I'll bring them out. You know, your coffee's already there. Here's a free one for your mate. Here's a little pastry as well."
Everyone would be like, "You're
You'd be
regular
like,
Maxer. I didn't know that."
They're my
about you."
guys in there. They're my guys in there. They do
Yeah.
it. They do it all the time. They always help me out. So
I
Dennis,
think if someone did that to me, I would be like incredibly sad that I don't have that.
what if someone like regular?
If someone regular
if
Max
someone cashed in their regular max like aura
Yeah.
in front of you, and maybe even
that
gave
I
you
knew
a
is, and
taste.
if I was there and someone did that, I would obviously be like, "Yo, that's like, I'm in awe," but also
You'd be
I'd
out
like,
aured though a little bit.
Yeah. I'd be like, "Oh my god, I've got to step up my game."
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Can't be getting out regular maxed. But that is from Dennis. Yeah, we'll have to dig more into that at some point, but that's really cool. Back to the host.
Another one that's semi the same as regular maxing is Pavel Durov came out with a tweet this year. He says, "I wish you less information, less food, less entertainment, less communication, less stimulation. You already have too much of all of that, and it stands in the way of your serenity, health, sleep, and creativity. Merry Christmas." This was Jan 7th, so a little bit late.
Yeah, a
but,
little bit later. No, it's only that was yesterday, Jan 8th.
Yeah.
But he's it's late for him. Pavel Durov, founder of Telegram.
That's regular maxing.
Wishes you less for Christmas. If you were to take it out of context, he's actually doing you a favor here, I think.
Yeah, he is.
He wants you to scroll less. He wants you to consume less. He wants you to stop watching Netflix. He wants you to stop being overstimulated through loads of communication with loads of people. And then he says, less stimulation. We have too much of that. And what I think is cool about this is I can't remember what the I think it's like a podcast or something that I saw, or maybe like a book, I can't remember. But it was essentially like the world, like in times of talking about like how we live in a very overstimulated world, and like we live in a world of instant gratification and everything. I think it might have been Dopamine Nation, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Like part of it was from that, and then someone else was referencing that book as well and giving their own take. But we live in this world of overstimulation. We live in this world of where you get anything at the click of your fingers. Like there's no like calorific expense that you have to pay in order to get the thing that you that you want, right? But in times of old, like right now, if I wanted food, I could press a button on my phone. If I wanted like alcohol, like obviously I've got a bottle there, but that's a bit different. But I could just like press a button. I could get alcohol here, or I could go into any local pub and I could spend my money. If I wanted to if I wanted to watch like any show in the whole world, I could stream it. If I wanted to get music in my ears and be, sort of like stimulated through audio, I could do that. I could do, I could watch anything. I could go on TikTok. I could go on stimulate. In times of old, like if you wanted to like consume alcohol, maybe like, okay, we're going a while back, but like in terms of how our bodies are developed, like let's say like medieval times or whatever, if wine or whatever would be broken out for like a great celebration, it would be like a rarity, a scarcity almost. Like good food would be a scarcity, like good fatty foods would be like a thing that you kind of like, that would be brought out at a celebration. You kind of have to earn all of these things. So it's kind of saying like, we're our bodies aren't used to.
Well, I think in Tudor times, having like bad teeth was like a good thing. It was like
really?
all of the so because sugar was so
it was like a sign of wealth.
Yeah, sugar was a sign of wealth, and therefore having bad teeth meant you had a lot of sugar.
Yeah, which meant you could buy a lot of sugar.
Exactly, which meant
Interesting. I think I'd heard that, but I completely forgot about
so
it.
Regular maxing is the key to all signs of prosperity.
Yeah.
Because
but
you actually get more by regular maxing, but in the practice of doing less.
Yes. Like, do not be deceived. Pavel Durov in this message, although he is wishing you less, he's actually wishing you more.
Exactly.
In the
long run.
Yeah.
Let's quick word from our sponsor, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com. They're in the ticket underneath us.
You can see him right there.
Just
looking
there.
good. We have what else do we have here? We've got the $1 trillion idea for situation monitoring.
This is so good. This is
This is from Will Depew, who is, I think Will works at OpenAI. I think he took a break recently to go traveling. I'm not sure if he's come back from his travels yet, but he was posting updates on his X feed. But Will says $1 trillion idea, sports bar, but just for the situation monitoring with live X feeds, flight radar, Bloomberg terminal, and Polymarket screens. I'm imagining a hectic casino floor vibe of people shouting over each other at a bookie to place Polymarket bets. He then goes on to at the founder of Polymarket. Says y'all should do a Polymarket pop-up coffee shop in NYC for this. That would be really cool. I imagine it like old trader, like traditional like bond traders, whatever, on the floor, wearing their blazers, shouting out with their tickets, trying to
stock market traders.
Yeah. Like just being like some old school type of debauchery. But let me also
There would be some. There'd be like a dress code. You had to dress like an old Wall Street.
You have
trader.
to wear like a trader thing. But then we also got Liquidity's take on this. Now it might just broach out a little bit on the screen because it's a big photo. But he comes back and he quotes Will's tweet with, "Going to be home late tonight, babe. I'm out monitoring the situation with a couple of guys. We might even stay and monitor a second situation if something comes up." And it's like a reimagined sports bar here of many situations.
Many
being
situations
monitored.
happening.
We've
No,
got,
maybe a few, but many different angles of each situation.
Yeah, well, I think that he does say, it's one situation at the time of monitoring.
Yeah.
So there's just one situation being monitored very well, and then also if a second situation does come up, Liquidity might stay a little bit longer.
That's
and
such
monitor that
a
as well.
good tweet. If anyone
that
wants
did
to
the
fund
rounds, by
an
the way.
ETN bar with situations, we'll have a Polymarket ticker, we'll have a Spectre ticker, and a bunch of other graphs. We'll do it in Mayfair. That'd be quite cool.
They did. So this one did 2.2
Or in
million
Belgravia.
views, 44k likes, 2.2 million views, 3.8k bookmarks. Really good.
I'd be a regular maxer to that.
Yeah, we could regular mics that, and maybe we get like free Polymarket bets or something. But that is from Liquidity.
You
over
walk
there
in,
at
and
Lit
you get
Capital.
you get free Polymarket positions.
That'd be quite nice. Yeah, I would definitely regular max at a spot like that. Really cool work from those two. It's nice to see a situation monitoring meme like that go super mega viral as well. I'd love to pull up, which while we're waiting for our next guest, I'd love to pull up Alex Cohen's tweet about LinkedIn that did the rounds. 250k views, 4.8k likes, 432 bookmarks. Wow, really good likes to view ratio on this bad boy for Alex. But Alex says, "This is your daily reminder that LinkedIn has 21,000 employees, and there's still no way for an employer to easily remove someone who falsely claims they work at your company. You can literally just say you worked anywhere." Like this guy is in Pakistan. He's an AI automation and agent building specialist who has worked at Hello Patient, apparently freelancing since October 2024.
He's had key contributions as well. Designed and employed AI agents for appointment scheduling, patient engagement, and administrative workflows.
You love to see that.
That's so great. It's not great. It's probably not good. Don't do that.
Probably not good. But I do find it mad how they have 21,000 employees. Their whole product is like this particular type of thing. It's documenting where individuals work. It's kind of more of a business/professional platform than everything else. It sits at that sort of professional social media sort of intersection. But its main job is to document where people work and where they move from their places of work. When do they leave? When do they join?
Well, it wasn't a social media until 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's like connecting people online, right? Like
well, it was technically a social media, but not in the way that you think is social, like, X social media. LinkedIn, now social media, more people are posting about it. They're building audiences and X, Y, Z.
Yeah. It's been ruined. Basically. Not that it was ever like. I think it used to be quite good in the day.
Well, it's very prestigious. It was the professional thing, and now it's become a little bit less professional. You know,
But I think I wasn't on LinkedIn when, you know, in the earlier days. I got on it quite late. When I think everyone kind of, when you're like 18 to 19 and you go into that job world, you kind of make one. It's a picture of you from like.
You don't really know how to make
or something. Like you know, your disco dance, whatever.
You don't really know how to make.
And you're like
LinkedIn.
Not this is bad because I did this as well, which is a good thing. But it's like you know, head of like I worked in the bar and I've got like head of back of bar.
Let's
like,
go.
Like, just like I'm washing plates and stuff. But
LinkedIn should do like a Spotify Wrapped of everyone's first version
ever,
of their LinkedIn profile.
First ever job.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is it's surprising to see that this is
Wrapped,
happening.
congratulations, you are the CEO of a I don't know, an IPO'd company valued at whatever billion, and
You used to be.
You used to
Wasn't
they
like
work at McDonald's or something.
Jensen has on his LinkedIn like his
Well, Jensen
time
had a
as
tough
like
time at the beginning of his career. He tried to. It was he got rejected a bunch of times from somewhere.
I was saying that on his LinkedIn, like he has like washing plates at Denny's. I think. Yeah. It was, and then it's like Nvidia CEO, which is like obviously gangster.
So he would have a really good. Yeah. Here we go.
Really cool. We have Nicola coming live onto the stream right now. Check our trumpets for Nicola as he enters the stream.
Nicola, can you hear us?
Can you hear us all right? Yeah,
yes,
loud and clear. We're just going to check with our producer to see if our audience can see you yet. We might just be waiting a sec till our viewers at home can see you and also hear you. We'll just wait for a thumbs up and we are good to
Thumbs
go.
up
We are
is here.
We are live. Nicola, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing? How's the day going?
Great. Busy, you know, every day and new adventure. Like a lot is happening. So, yeah, I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, doing well.
We are very,
Doing
very
really
good.
well.
It's probably worth.
When are you cracking open those bottles?
It's a good
We
question.
got them today.
We've
so
only
I think
just
if we
got
do
them.
it, then
We're gonna crack them open at some point. But Nicola, it's dry January, so we can't actually drink them yet.
That's true.
And we might be doing a dry Q1. So maybe at the end of Q1, or maybe at the end of January. Who knows? If we're feeling like we want to party, maybe we open them.
Or just have them off camera and then.
Yeah, then no one will know. Let's hear a bit more from you, Nicola. Like what we typically do is we obviously know who you are, but we'd love for you to maybe introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, what is PolyAI, and we can go from there.
Of course. PolyAI is a Series D company doing conversational AI. We build most of the voice agents for customer service, where we help large companies automate a lot of their customer service in what we would call a CSAT accretive way. So kind of like making the experience better for the end customer and not just kind of like putting self-service that frustrates them to no end until they give up on the reason that they called about. We work with some really large companies. Think of Marriott or Caesars in hospitality, or PG&E, California's largest utility company, or FedEx, or Allstate, or NatWest, like very large companies with large contact centers. And, this is a big problem. Kind of like keeping them staffed, keeping people trained is really difficult. So AI has always promised to transform this piece. And, my history in the space comes from doing a deep learning PhD back in 2014. That's where I met my two co-founders. This was back at Cambridge, where, you could fit the people working on conversational AI with deep learning in a room of about 40 people, and none of it worked. It was, like many of the technologies that are now a part of the common vernacular. I was at the OpenAI launch party, and, that whole kind of like wave of building things that would be good enough for people to use is what got me into this. Our previous company, VocalIQ, got acquired by Apple in 2015 to make Siri more conversational. Then I got fed up with people telling me Siri is shit, and it was all right. Like, where can I build something that people are not gonna like absolutely hate, right? So when we kicked off, it was a lot of like chatbots. Young people don't want to call; they just want to chat. That's all like hogwash. It's not true, right? Like, you have like a power outage, your internet's not working and you have a meeting to join in 5 minutes, like, you're calling the broadband company and you're kind of like raining fire on them. So that kind of like critical voice for tasks like, everything from like power outages to done a lot of revenue generating calls. I think about 3 weeks ago, we sold $60,000 worth of office supplies with one of our AI agents calling outbound. So,
Wow.
it's a brave new world where the capabilities have now spiked. We have a pretty massive distribution already. We work with and are deployed with more live customers than any of our competitors, simply by virtue of starting a bit earlier, right? I think that there's a massive enterprise pool, and there are a lot of companies growing really quickly in the space. But yeah, I'll shut up. See where you guys want to take it. But
No, dude, that is awesome. I think it's such a fascinating space. I think that the past few years there's been a lot of excitement around the space. There's been a lot of people that have been really excited to jump in it. We've seen some interesting applications in like the AI, BDR, SDR, which comes to mind when you mentioned, you managed to outbound $60,000 sale. And I'm thinking of these AI BDRs, maybe like Artisan, 11x. I can't remember off the top of my head if it maybe Hyperbound as well in the US. But they didn't seem to be able to stick around. I think they did well at first, but again, that was what you mentioned. I think is you mentioned hype there. They weren't able to ride that any further than they did. I mean, we know what happened to 11x. We know what happened to the other ones that I mentioned. But like, what do you think where are we at today? I mean, like you clearly are doing. I think you guys have 1,000 FTEs per customer. Like you guys are doing it well, and it's working, and it's sticking around. Like you just came off the back of a raise. Like what's like? Why is it failing in that world? Maybe, or is it just bad execution? Like what's happening right now? What's the current state?
Yeah, I think there's a tale of two cities, right? Like there are companies like 11x where like pure startup Machiavellism gets people to like talk about things. They talk about it well. They capture a bit of the momentum and PR more than anything. They raise off of that. They lean in, not like a year, but like 3 years into their execution in terms of like what they're talking about, and then the whole thing collapses because it's not really there, right? I can tell you the first reaction I had from an enterprise buyer when I actually went in, I was like, we're going to automate like 3/4 of your things. And the guy was like, child, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what this is, right? So it takes time to get real enterprise adoption, distribution. It takes time to learn how to like be the person that talks to them. Because startup community, like we love hype. We do this partially because the hype is fun, right? Like we're having fun. We're on podcasts. We talk to each other. We hype each other up. So we keep going and working on stuff, right? That all makes sense. The real world is a bit different, where like you're gonna have to develop the maturity to actually like deliver on what you tell them you're gonna do, and that compounds over a long time, right? Microsoft is a behemoth because they stick by their word. They don't like dilly-dally, and they do all that, and that takes time to develop, especially in B2B, right? Now, AI SDRs are particularly interesting because to anyone who actually knows a bit about the legislation, and let's maybe direct fire at our American counterparts, kind of like telemarketing, outbound calls to random people. That's probably one of the few places where America has much stricter regulation than Europe, because they do so much. Like your phone rings nonstop and people are selling you shit day and night, right? So they've regulated really strictly against this. So every company that goes, I'm just gonna like magically create a sales channel for you. No, they can like magically create like a liability and a fine of $100 million for you while generating fuck all when it comes to actual, like revenue or anything like that.
I can press this thing now.
Game over.
Our new game over sound tag works quite well there, so I just had to try it out.
Can you hear that?
So I think that like they've leaned in, and the truth is like you need to have permission to call someone and sell them stuff, right? Like they need to opt into you doing that. So the magical wave of just you outbound everyone with AI because it's infinitely scalable, it's just not applicable, right? And we've seen recently, I saw a post yesterday of like I think quite a scaled startup was removed from LinkedIn altogether, like deleted, like Carthage, right, from existence by LinkedIn because they were using AI to like spam people through Sales Navigator, right? So, I think it's going to take a bit of time to realize what's real, what's applicable, what's going to work, what's not going to work. So those never worked and then didn't work. I think that they just never worked full stop, right? When it comes to AI SDR, right? When it comes to customer service automation, that's where you really then have to look at, there's a few ways to carve the land. There's always been a pretty dynamic chat competitive landscape, right? Where companies that are chat first often think like fintechs, companies like Monzo, Revolut, and similar types. They would implement chatbots because they're like application first. So their support will live there, everything will live there by design, right? And they would do chat, and they would buy every new chat vendor and try everything out. And companies go from 0 to 10, 20 million of ARR, and then they kind of like stall, and they're there forever, and they're zombies, right? Like a Decagon comes to mind these days as the newest generation of that. And then you have the scaled ones like Zendesk, Intercom. They have like businesses that are probably at least 100 million of ARR in that stuff, right? But then when it comes to voice, we're talking like mission critical infra, right? Like when we deployed with PG&E, the utility company of North California, like we got 1 million phone calls in a day on an outage line. And we started working with them on the outage line in February because they didn't expect to get a lot of calls there. So we thought we were playing it safe. And like 2 weeks post go live, there were like these biblical floods in California, and the line held. And then that helped us prove that it works and scale credibility. But voice is hard, and companies deciding that, because like if the chatbot doesn't work, there's always the contact center they can call, right? And that's where you kind of have to really figure out just like what's going on, like will they let you deploy there? How do you get them to be comfortable with putting AI on the highest point of escalation? And that's not easy, right? So I think that scaling here is a bit slower than like in chat only, but the TAM is a lot larger, right? Because 80% of all customer interactions still happen over the phone.
How do you manage the kind of balance of like moving fast as a startup, but also having to manage the fact that what you are dealing with is hypersensitive for the company and therefore their customer, and that relationship is you've got to make sure that is really strong between them and then also your customer, which is the company. How do you make sure that you're kind of making sure that it's moving fairly slowly in terms of everything is correct, but then also moving fast and scaling fast as a company?
Yeah, no, it's infuriating, man. It's you want to do it all and you want to do it immediately, right? But then on the other hand, you're like not going to, some of these larger builds and transformations, I compare it to think of a world. Well, I mean, none three of us can remember it, but like once upon a time, you had to go to like a shop downtown and buy like airplane tickets to travel, right? And then someone, the internet hype was on. And similarly to now, like half the people are like, oh, it's a hype, it's a bubble, it's going to burst. Then it burst, and then, it delivered on everything it promised. So similarly here, you're building a new channel for like a company to do business in. So obviously it's not going to be built overnight. And you're just going to have to parallelize if you want a fast moving company. Like the truth is some customers move way faster than you'd ever expect, right? And then some customers you expect to move fast can't, maybe because of regulation, maybe because of individuals involved, right? So you just have to have a lot of bets, and some move unbelievably fast, right? We went live with FedEx in 30 days. If I told you that, you'd call me nuts, right? But they had a problem. And then, we took some shortcuts. Equally, we've had like global systemic banks like UniCredit set a roadmap that initially seemed slow, but when I compare how fast we've gone with them at a scale of a pan-European deployment, compared to some smaller banks that were supposed to move fast but then got stuck because of lack of resources, lack of process, you end up realizing that like those bigger clients sometimes their like rigid structure means that at least they have a process that everyone can like look to follow this stuff. But as a startup that just wants to move fast, it can be infuriating. And I think that's where a lot of the startup wisdom just like falls, because you don't know what you don't know, so you kind of have to just experiment with many parallel processes, and it surprises you, it punishes you in other places, and you never know.
Does that mean you're like strategically focusing on those larger like enterprise customers first, like you're going like a top-down approach?
So it's really interesting, right? So we historically did, right? It was a very like Palantir forward deployed, and it had to for the first few customers. It was pre-Gen AI, and kind of like post LLM is like our systems became like fully generative, and then our platform became fully generative, and then we had our own models. It got easier to build, but some of them move fast, some of them move slow, but equally like we have SaaSified vertical applications for certain industries where we've done a lot of reps. So now a restaurant can go onto the OpenTable website, go into like partners, integrations, click, PolyAI, click, and they get a phone number that if you call, it's their restaurant. You can just call and make a booking, right? So that stops being any kind of forward deployed. That becomes like traditional SaaS, finally, right? And it took me like years to get to the maturity where we can do this. And there are a number of verticals where we now have these like templates and things where, we spin up a client in no time. And that then allows you to do that parallel motion I talked about at much greater, you can parallelize a lot more, and then like a lot more of them work. You have SaaS distribution for places where you can really package it up. Because at the end of the day, the buyer, they don't care how an LLM works, right? And I think to a lot of us, like, it's fascinating. I think it's especially fascinating to people like me who are highly technical. And then, you went off to like learn about other departments of a startup. You learn to sell, you learn to market, whatever, right? And then you come back and maybe you haven't coded for a while and then vibe coding everything. And it seems like you have superpowers. But the truth is, if you're looking at an LM prompt and editing it to someone in the contact center, that's almost as bad as changing code, right? Because they don't really know how this language model interprets that instruction, what it does. And all you've changed is like a programming language for like a language-driven programming paradigm, right? And we have to package this up for people so they can just live with it with simpler primitives, and that's kind of like just like moving towards the application layer with better UX, right?
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. I wanted to get your take on you mentioned the vibe coding. Like maybe you say you stepped away to run the business, or you're probably, I assume you're not like coding every day anymore, right? You're running like a yeah. This rise of the vibe coding sort of tools and platforms and stuff like that. I feel that at first there was loads of hype, then it kind of died down a little bit when everyone realized that the quality of the applications were pretty poor. Now I'm seeing like Claude code like all over my timeline, and people seem to be generating some cool stuff. Like people like we even saw with Meta's acquisition of Manus, that was a first large scale, like this is a proper player buying a pretty sort of early, like they only started 2 years ago maybe, doing 100 million ARR, which I find insane. Like what is your take on this vibe coding stuff? Like is it going to get to a place where it's actually it has longevity to it, like it's producing high quality output, or are we already there? Like what do you think?
I think it depends on where you set like the goalposts, but I think that it is already a thing that is absolutely here to stay. It's changed. I don't know a single good developer who's not like living and breathing Cursor or something comparable, right? And it's there, right? Like if you're not using it now, it's like you're not using a basic piece of equipment that you should be using for the job to be far more productive, better, etc. Like, will it fully replace an engineer? I don't really know, honestly, right? Like, when you look at like lovable style, website making and whatever, like, yeah, it's good for a prototype to illustrate something to people. Like, I guess you can work on from it. By the end of it, like by the time you need like a high grade production system, would you have been better served by starting from scratch? Honestly, that's beyond my pale of technical competence at this point in my career. So I don't know, but I think it's here to stay. I think it's going to be built into every kind of like large distribution network, be it like Microsoft or GitHub and others. It seems like many of them have crossed the kind of like chasm of adoption to like hundreds of millions plus, where you don't die that easily, right? Your valuation might take a beating if you stop growing as fast, or if you contract for whatever reason. We saw it with, what was the whole, forgot the name of the company. OpenAI was supposed to buy them, and then I think
Cognition Labs with Devin Wu. I think, is it Devin Wu?
Yeah, but they bought that other one. What's it called?
Windsurf. They bought the other one.
Windsurf, Windrush.
Yeah, that like fell through, but then it kind of didn't fall through, or like.
Yeah, then he bought Scrubs and he fired them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like that's lovely.
But
I think that's like an example of where kind of like that whole like strategic autonomy. Like will you have your knees cut off from under you or not? Like easy come, easy go, but not always. Like I think Cursor, I think Lovable are incredible successes that get to compound on that like early mover advantage. And I think what's clear to all is that like that whole narrative of like TAM expansion and like just the greater market emerging in a way that they couldn't like script beforehand, that's happening there right now, right?
Yeah.
So who would have thought that there's so many angles, those guys and then Replit and everyone else creating such large business lines from this? It's fascinating, right? And I think it's here to stay. I think it's like the most, I used to say that like customer service and coding are like top two. I think right now, you're right, the hype has died down a little bit, but it is still like if I'm going to be fair, number one coding, number two customer service, and then everything else in terms of like impact on the world. I think we get to have impact for much longer, but the issue is like developers are developers. They care about technology and they try it out quickly, right? And that's where the magic of PLG like mixes to create these like 100 million out of nothing outcomes, right? In B2B, it takes a bit longer, but you know, that is a moat in its own right in a way for like the stickiness and retention.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to rewind a little bit and just focus in like the founding story. Like, what were the early days like? How did you PolyAI? Like, what was the decision that led to that?
Yeah. So I joined this other startup, Vocal IQ, as like their first hire as an engineer straight out of my master's at Cambridge. And I think like a lot of people, you know, I was kind of like fed up with competitions and all that, and like nerds who think they're gods because they get a high exam score, right? Nothing's changed really. But I was going to go into banking. So that's the futile, laughable extent of my rebellion against the establishment, right? And I meet this professor called Steve Young, who's like sold 2 companies, starting a third, 40,000 citations. He was also the pro vice chancellor of Cambridge, which is basically the person running the university. So I'm like, this guy's like God on earth, right?
Yeah.
So I got to meet him and he's like, oh, you want to go and be a PowerPoint monkey? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, well, when you put it that way. And he convinced me to join his startup. Later, I ended up doing a PhD with him. And that's when deep learning really hit it off, right? And Steve worked on speech recognition, and he was one of the pioneers of it. And then he started working on dialogue systems, kind of like these communication systems, what we built now, right? And it was really early, right? And it was really interesting. And deep learning kind of like compounded, and it has continued to compound every year since then, right? And, you know, during my PhD, I would train a system in English and like a few tweaks to pre-training, and voila, it works in like French and Italian and German. And that was just magical to me, right? And while working for Vocal IQ, even though we got like acqui-hired, right, into Apple a year and a half later, like that pump I felt from working at a startup was just incredible. It compares to nothing else, because it's kind of like, I think that's why we all like care for it and why there's more and more people doing it. Like, if you're willing to work your ass off and you're reasonably smart and willing to learn, you just get to, you know, like proclaim your own country, right? It's the frontier mentality where you go and like, okay, this piece of land will now be country X, it's my country, and my vision will shape it. And that has such a lure to a lot of people, right? And I think once I felt, and you know, like there's co-founders, there's early hires, and people who, as they join, are so explosive and so impactful that they're immediately this layer of like semi-co-founders, right? And it's not necessarily rank tied. Like there are C-levels that don't have as much impact, and there are individual engineers who everyone looks to in a company for certain things, right? And like creating that layer of people in a company, that's where the magic lands for me, and why I think I'll always like, you know, build startups, because that feeling of like choosing who you work with, what you work on, and just like it's like, you know, the moment I felt that at Vocal IQ, I knew I would start my own thing. And then I was lucky in that deep learning started working a lot. And I met my 2 co-founders in the same research group. And at the end, we were like, let's go. Let's just go. We didn't really know what we were going to do. It wasn't contact centers early on. We worked with Samsung to improve Bixby. We did a few projects with a few other companies, like pilots with augmented reality companies it was like an HR person doing the Myers-Briggs test with you in a simulated interview, right? Crazy stuff, right? And then to me, where I was like, okay, everyone hates consumer voice agents. That hasn't changed, by the way. And like, if you use voice mode on ChatGPT, it's far better than anything that Siri ever was. And yet I think it's really comically underused relative to like what a technical marvel it is. So to me, it was like, if you're going to build a roadmap for voice agents becoming part of our daily life, you got to take logical steps, right? And the logical step to me is like 2% of the British population works in contact centers. 2% of American population works in contact centers, plus all the offshoring. So there's a real need there. And if you can attack it meaningfully, you just have to go for it. So, you know, we went away from trying to just figure out like how to like do cool things technically into like figuring out how we're going to distribute in contact center land, which is like the worst place to sell software, because it's critical, mission critical. They buy software once in 5 years. So it's not like in cybersecurity, you see a new startup every day because they make up a thread and then they're selling to smart people who understand the thread And then, they go to the CEO and it's like, well, this threat could like cost your job, and then they buy it, right? Whereas like in customer service, it's like, you change the infra like once in 5 years, maybe. So like getting them to experiment with AI, I'm really thankful to Altman and OpenAI for the hype they've created, because now those people believe that they have to do it. And it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's become more of a normal thing. I wanted to like hone in on the contact center, and that being potentially like, we're kind of realizing that it's maybe like the number one case for AI and where PolyAI is going for 2026. Like, what are you excited about? But then also like, where do you see PolyAI going in the kind of like long-term future?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I want to press on disadvantage and distribution and adoption that we have. I think the thing I like the most about a lot of this is just how we make the consumers of our customers feel. And what I mean is like the number of people that interact with PolyAI and then like realize, oh wait, like that was AI. How great, right?
Yeah.
Like, and next time they speak to it, they might actually meaningfully engage in a much better way, right? I mean, I can play you like a call. I wonder if you'll hear it on this platform. Give me a thumbs up if you do.
Yeah, let's see. Will, we might not hear it. We're not sure.
Let's see. How about now?
Hi, thanks for calling Bella Italia Telford. How can I help you today?
Book a table.
When would you like to come in?
Today.
What time do you think you'll be here?
6:15.
So he thinks it's a bot. It's very
And
correct.
how many people?
7.
Let me just have a look at what space we have. It looks like we've got nothing within 2 hours of 6:15 p.m. Is there another
Do you
date
know
or
what?
time I can check for you?
No, I'm so sorry. I thought I was talking to a robot, so I was being really rude. I do apologise. Sorry. No, that's all good. We're looking for somewhere right now, so that's no problem at all. Thanks ever so much.
British politeness never gets old. But
That's wild. Do you just have that on your laptop, or did you like that was so quick to find?
That's insane.
Dude,
It's a great example.
I've got 100. I've got better ones, right? We could do a whole new episode of just doing this. Really, I mean, I'm serious. We've been at it for a while. This is like a 3-year-old cult. They're better now, right?
No way. That's insane.
So, I want to change the way that people feel about this technology at scale. And I will follow whatever route I have to distribute it reliably and, to do more of it every year. There's a lot of bad, not tech debt, but like consumer experience debt here, where people hate this stuff. I mean, how you react when you hear something automated, right? And I think we're starting to make a real dent in the world when it comes to, changing at scale the experiences they've had, where they go like, oh, wow, this company like bought this for me so that they can be better for me, right? Rather than, oh, they did it to save money, like, fuck them.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really kind of like important to me that we continue to deliver on that promise. And, for a business at large, to give you a bit more of like a dry, boring enterprise version of this, is you really start to develop this consciousness as like this connected enterprise, where like if you see calls spiking in Manchester with people asking questions about billing and why their bill is so high, you go like, look, it's jumped by a factor that is like statistically impossible. We messed up billing in Manchester. Let's like send outbound text messages and tell people something's wrong with your bill. We're on it. A day later, we've sent you a new bill. We're really sorry. We're sending you a refund with 10% interest if you paid already. Cool. No more crisis. People might not love that you've done it, but you've dealt with it. You look competent, right? Because like with anything in life or at work, right? You appreciate the communication and knowing that they know what's going on rather than feeling powerless because something happened, right? Whereas if your contact center gets swamped and you don't have an answer, and that's what happens in real life now, then you blame the contact center for not picking up the phone calls. But someone else in your company messed up this thing and created a problem. It's not the contact center's fault that they got 3 times as many calls that they didn't expect because someone else messed up. So for the company, this then gets to kind of like turn a lot of the contact center into sales. But then as you put AI sales agents, you're able to then like, example, right? When we work with a lot of restaurant groups. We're an exclusive partner to OpenTable for a lot of their like bigger restaurant groups. And when people call, like before like Mother's Day, Father's Day, you could end the call with like, oh, thanks for calling. By the way, have you booked for Mother's Day? Right? And like no one has. They'll book last minute. And people go like, oh, no, I haven't. And then you go, do you want to come in between 2 and 6 p.m.? And we'll give you a round of drinks for free. Why, you may wonder? Well, because places are full for lunch, full for dinner, and empty in between. Now they've staffed up. They're ready to go. They have everything. And you say yes, why not? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. We've helped restaurants drive revenue up on those days by like 13% by kind of like maximizing occupancy. So these are things that a human won't do because the human is there pouring pints and someone's calling to book. Like they fail to pick up the phone 30% of the time, let alone think about cross-selling and upselling at the end of that call. They never do that in practice, right? Because if you're waiting there to have a pint and I'm like, cutely talking to someone about them booking from others, you're going to punch me in the face, right? That's where, AI can really be superhuman in a way that's not like better than a human, but just more available and more consistent, right?
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
That is so, dude. We didn't even get to talk about the properly about the raise, but we're 5 minutes over time, unfortunately. Our next guest is waiting to come in. We'd love to have you back on if you would do that. I mean, this has been one of my favorite conversations we've had, actually.
Yeah, super insightful.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me, man. Yeah, see you around.
Yeah, you too. All the best. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers. All good.
Just before we have the next guest on the show, Spectre, be the reason your fund was the deal of the decade. Go to tryspectre.com. Harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets. Next on the show, we have Ernesti at Freight.
Yeah, he just tried to come in there.
He wasn't on this live show, though. He wasn't.
We saw him in the room.
Here he is.
He's joining us now.
Ernesti, can you hear us?
Can you hear our trumpets? That's a shame.
That's so sad.
That's all good. We were just playing some trumpets then for your.
We apologise. We were still on with the previous guest.
Sorry for the tardiness. But thank you so much for joining us. We're just checking with our producer if we are live. We are live. The stream can now see you, Ernesti. Are we saying that right? Ernesti is the right pronunciation?
Yep, that's good.
Awesome stuff. We usually kick this thing off by asking our guests, who are you? What do you do? Where do you work? We'd love to get the rundown from you, and then we can kick off.
Absolutely. If I start ranting, just cut me off.
No, please rant away. This is the rant show.
Yeah,
you are here to rant.
Awesome. So I'm Ernesti. I grew up here in Finland, in the countryside, in a small town, which is like 1,000 people. All my friends became farmers, etc. Nothing wrong with that, but I always thought that there's more out there. Did all kinds of things when I was young. I wanted to be a physicist, but I always was against all kinds of rules and norms. So then I guess I ended up on a more entrepreneurial journey. And then did all kinds of things. Ended up studying computer science in Aalto University here in Finland. Absolutely hated the academic environment. With all the NPCs, I tried to find people who have these crazy dreams and ideas that they want to go for, and actually have the agency to go for them. I ended up dropping out. Went to the startup ecosystem. Through that, ended up in Silicon Valley. And even though there's many things that I don't like about the US and San Francisco, there's still, I think it's a place where everyone should go at least once to just experience the mindset. Got inspired there, and now building Freight.
So cool, dude. Thank you so much. And Freight specifically, like Luke and I were talking about it previously. I've seen it all over my LinkedIn feed. I've had friends that have messaged me about it as well. You guys are everywhere. Can we get like a breakdown? Like, is it a hacker hotel? Is it an accelerator hotel? Like, what's the setup?
That's a great question. So it's definitely not a hacker house. That's something that we're trying to get away from. So what Freight is we're building a new kind of an institution. It's an institution where young technical mavericks go all in on crazy ideas. That's concretely what it actually is. In the bigger picture, if we think about the future, what it will look like in 100 years, it's going to be the most influential institution in the whole world, which will shape what the future actually looks like. Is it a dystopia or a utopia? How I currently explain it is like, either in the future we die in nuclear radiation while we are watching AI slop from TikTok, or we occupy Mars
take.
and we cure cancer and do all of these nice things. And for that to happen, for the nice things to happen, we feel like we need to change the culture of where the best young, like especially technical people, the smartest people, where are they using their time? Are they going to quantitative finance, consultancy companies, big tech, or are they building something of their own? And if they decide to build something of their own, not the mundane B2B SaaS company, but actually something that really solves a huge problem. So that's what.
Yeah, that's sorry, go
You're
on.
doing good work.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know that I remember seeing, I forget who it is now, but I was connected to someone on your team just before you guys had managed to get that like 52 room like hotel place. Like it was done, I think you had somewhere and it fell through, and then you managed to get that place in like 6 days or something, like something crazy. Like that was a crazy turnaround. Is that right? I'm not sure if that was, I'm pretty sure that was you guys.
Yeah, that's right. This is the hotel. I'm just inside it, like the 5th floor. The view is
No way, that's the building.
snowy Finland outside. Yeah, we had this mansion first, but yeah, it just ended up not working because of all the regulation. It was like an old heritage building. And then, yeah, I think we got the hotel, we got the keys 4 days before the first cohort started. And we had to furnish the whole place before that.
And tell me how the cohorts work. Is it, yeah, just like more specifically, like how does it all work? Like if I'm wanting to join.
Yeah. So we're quite hands off. We just let people do what they actually want to do. And the participants that we accept, they are way smarter than we are. Like they actually know the tech. So we don't help too much in that. We do try to connect them to actual experts in the field. But on that side, we just let people do what they actually want to do. But then during the cohort, we, for example, do Friday demos. People come together and show their progress. We have a pretty, I would say, actually impactful demo day. In the first cohort, we had over 50 VCs just flying here to Finland to actually see it live. And then just all the connections to all the tier 1 investors. So fundraising is super easy after the cohort. And then I would say the most valuable thing is just the community. When you're surrounded by like-minded people who are all really technical, you can talk about anything with them, but they're all as well like obsessed and working on these crazy ideas. Just being surrounded by those people, living together, it's an intensive experience, and you're all living together. So actually form these bonds that wouldn't happen in a normal program where you get together maybe once a week or something like that. So that's a big part of the program. And then there's all kinds of workshops and secret things that we do, but they're secret.
Secret things. Love that.
I'd love to go into, so like you guys have had an amazing start. You were founded, has it even been a year? Is it less than a year?
Bit more than a year. Basically a year. The first cohort started last year, 17th of January. But before that, obviously, we did some things of just like figuring everything out.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you know, in that time, you know, you've done a 52 room hotel for you guys, raised roughly 1.5 million euros in sponsorship / non-profit funding, almost 2,000 applications from people from every single Ivy League school, the Bay Area, all wanted to come to Finland. The first companies are already raising millions of dollars in up rounds from your cohort. The youngest solo founder ever accepted to YC in your first cohort. People working on crazy ideas for everything from like default chip to like computation stuff. Like how have you pulled this thing together in such a short amount of time? And like, why do you think it's working so well?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're still thinking about that ourselves. It's just a lot of learning. So one thing is just unreal conviction and belief in something impossible. So if your goal is not impossible or something crazy, like you'll never get there because there's nothing to go for, right? So first you need to just set a really ambitious goal, and then have this unreal conviction in yourself. Like we're all super young in the team. We have no experience. So all we can do is just trust ourselves that we can do it, and that's where it all starts from. Then just really hard work, Monday to Sunday, from morning to evening, just work. There's nothing to do about that, but at the same time you just try to keep your mind together, stress management, all of that stuff. And then I would say being good at sales is quite important. And what sales is in the end, you just need to get other people excited about your vision. And if you can do that, then you'll do well in sales. So we've been able to get money for ourselves, get the building, but also sell the vision to the participants who decided to come to Finland to this random new program instead of everything else. And I mean, the list goes on. There's so many learnings of like how to do something like this.
I wanted to ask a bit of a weird question in terms of, I've been seeing maybe in the past year, maybe a little bit longer, that there is a shift away from the traditional kind of institutions, whether that's a university, college, all of that kind of stuff, to entrepreneurs who have been successful in the game starting their own institutions. And this kind of has a similar thing. You can think about the Peter Thiel Fellowship and a lot of other maybe like schools. They're kind of building these like new university type thing. I wanted to get your take on that because it's semi-similar, it's a bit more of an accelerator type thing, but what's your take on the kind of future of education? Like, I think what you're doing is kind of hitting something similar, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things happening. I guess the one main reason for that is that our institutions are just failing us. If you think about all the problems in academia nowadays, especially now combined with AI. If I would be 12 years old now and using the full power of AI in a good way, actually helping me to learn, I don't really know what I would do with a normal university degree after turning 18. And then we're seeing this through Freight. We're seeing these 16-year-olds who already have over 10 years of experience from coding and building things. And there's not really that much that universities can offer for these people. The main reason that they often still decide to go is you'll get the CV stamp. Obviously, if you have a Stanford CV stamp on your resume, that helps you with fundraising and all kinds of things. And another thing is the network. So just opening the door and meeting all these like other interesting people. And then if you think about for us, for example, how do we differ from that? How do we compete with Stanford or MIT? We can have the stamp as well when Freight becomes a globally recognized name in the next 10 years. And then the network will actually have a better network because we have people who are like-minded with you. They're obsessed, crazy people working on crazy ideas. You don't actually meet so many of those in a typical university.
Yeah, that's
it's a network effect, right?
Yeah,
that's the key.
I saw I've been across Freight previously, but what jumped in my mind to request if you could come and sit with us today and chat with us was actually a post that you put up recently for a chief propaganda officer.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw this, I fell in love with it because it's something that we bang on about on the show all the time. And we just had the Minister of AI on in the UK who was even saying like a lot of the future of this stuff, like there's a lot more value to be unlocked by creating or just showing the world what you're doing through content, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on X, whether it's a video, YouTube, whatever it is, but just showing the world what's happening in your area, right? It's like you have an ability to, his words, drag the reality to where the narrative is, or drag that. I can't remember which was it, narrative.
It was drag reality here, drag the reality up to the narrative, essentially.
I think it was it not? Was it?
Yeah,
Okay,
was it.
Anyway, it's a good thing to do. I'd love to ask you more about like what does that role mean to you? You know, what does that role like? Why is that such an important hire?
Yeah. So after doing Freight for 1 year, we've realized that the product is actually pretty good. Our NPS score is something like 9.4, I think. So now we just need to get the word out there, like we exist. yeah, that's what needs to happen. So that's why we need someone to just first of all film everything and make content that looks like Freight, but also can go viral. And so we've tried to make posts go viral. We've succeeded in a couple cases, but it's actually really hard to go viral. So somebody who really knows how to do that, and that's how Freight will grow the most during the next couple of years, when everybody will just know that it even exists. So that's why that's a key hire for us.
Nice. Yeah, you love to hear it. I think it's becoming more and more important to have an individual doing that role at an early stage startup, just from like a growth perspective. I think we've
especially with you guys as well, because if you're like targeting the technical people, they might not necessarily be that, they won't care about a lot of the distribution side, which is quite normal. Maybe that will change, and obviously there's outliers there, but if you allow people to outsource that, that's the kind of biggest thing. And you can always have someone on the ground filming and making sure that there's content going out of these amazing people building crazy things.
Yeah, and distribution is king. Obviously, like you can have the coolest idea, the coolest prototype, do a successful fundraise, but if the world doesn't know about you, then you won't go anywhere. So that would be also great that we can offer those like services to our founders, that we have people here who can help them to go viral and teach them how to do growth marketing.
Yeah, awesome. So something you and I discussed yesterday, just when we were chatting on LinkedIn, we'd love to get your opinions on the Europe versus US mindset. Like, you are at the frontier of the next generation of founding talent, not just in Finland, but you mentioned people are flying in from different countries, right? You're seeing who's up next, essentially. And I'm sure you're chatting with a load of investors as well, a load of founders, a load of people in the space. What's your take on Europe versus US?
Yeah, there's so many things to talk about.
Which we don't believe, like, we don't think that there's that comparison in terms of Europe versus US. I don't think that.
Yeah.
We're happy to see people go to the US to build
wherever you're going to grow your company, go and do that. Is our philosophy.
I think there is some sort of if we think about democracy and individual rights and the future that we're building here, obviously there's all kinds of sketchy things happening in the US. US is still the global superpower, but it could actually go wrong. There's a chance for that. Also, the power that China has right now, and it feels like it's more like US versus China, and then Europe is just here saying that we don't agree with that, but nobody's listening because we don't have any power. And why we don't have any power is because we don't have economical growth. And if we think about a future where Europe doesn't have any say, I think that's quite dangerous just for like democracy and individual rights. So I think it is important that Europeans stay in Europe and build here, but for that to happen, we need to have an environment where it can actually work out. So obviously there's a lot of problems to fix when it comes to capital and regulation, but I think the biggest thing in the end is just mindset. We now have the data of just talking to hundreds and hundreds of young people who want to do something. And when you talk to someone who's from the Bay Area, from Stanford, whatever, from the US, compared to somebody who's from a really good European school, there's just such a big difference in the mindset. Actually, the European people might be even more technical. They might know more about the tech, but then their belief in what's possible is, I would say there's like a 10 to 100x difference. And then you can see it with every single European. It comes to politicians, investors, all the people who in the end make up the whole market. And we're just missing the mindset of doing impossible things, reaching for goals, bigger goals, and just changing the world. And obviously we are missing role models. In the US, if you grow up, let's say you grow up in the Bay Area and you just hear about people like Zuckerberg and all these other people every single day, and you kind of have this feeling that if they can do it, I can do it as well. But in Europe, you don't really have those role models. So that's something that I hope we'll see in the next, 10 years, just more role models coming up. But I guess my main point here is that I see the mindset question being one of the biggest ones. Like fixing the problems with capital, that's in the end quite easy. But how do you change the whole culture of a continent? That's a huge question.
Yeah. I mean, Kanishka said the exact same thing. It all comes down to the culture. Is the kind of biggest thing. Is that's what you want to change.
Yeah, start with.
Exactly. And you're doing God's work, so thank you so much. And
we are basically at time. Just last question. You mentioned the next cohort is starting last day of this month. Can we plug anything? Can we direct anyone anywhere? Where can they go to get stuck in?
Yeah, I mean, we actually still have a couple of spots open. So from our website, freight.so, you can find our email and just contact us that, hey, I have this crazy idea, here's my background, and we can chat. That's one thing. And then if any investors see this, we have our demo day coming up at the end of April. You can also just hit us up for that if you're interested. It's truly on another level. This cohort is the first one that is what Freight is actually supposed to be. I mean, we've already had amazing alumni, but still, when you talk about crazy ideas, there's still a lot to go towards a point where every single idea is like sci-fi. When you walk in and you hear the ideas, you're just like, this is impossible. But now, if we think about the founders in the next cohort and the things that they're working on, it's like exactly what Freight is supposed to be like, and the quality is just up the roof. So I'm quite excited of what will come out of it.
Let's go. We'll have to catch up
Awesome
once you announce everything a bit more publicly and get some of these people on.
Yeah. I can
awesome stuff.
give a quick sneak peek that there's people building rockets, competing with SpaceX. There's people building BCI stuff, novel AI architectures, robotics, stuff like that. Really interesting.
Crazy stuff.
That's awesome.
And Esty, thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, and keep us updated.
Thank you, and thank you for the
Cheers, dude. No, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Great to meet you.
All the best. That's awesome.
Awesome.
I remember seeing somewhere that someone was building something. It was a similar thing to that, but one of the lists was this is John. He's building a radioactive repellent suit that you can walk around in radioactive areas. This is Mike. He's building X-ray vision
there was
glasses
some guy
to see through walls. I was like, this is just like an X-Men lineup.
Yeah,
I mean, this is this isn't a
straight out of a movie.
House. This is the X-Men. I've seen this film.
Just a word from our sponsor, Airwallex. Leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. The multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one platform. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back next Tuesday for ETN number 3 of 2026. We appreciate it. Love you all.
Heating up.
Let's go.
Ciao.